We ask that everyone indicate their names according to the naming convention for today's event. Name or acronym of your institution dash your full name. Again, it should be name or acronym of your institution dash your full name. For example, BIR dash Juan de la Cruz. Thank you, everyone. We recently experienced an earthquake here in the metro. For those of you who were also affected, we hope that you are all safe and in good condition. Ladies and gentlemen, we will begin the program with an invocation.
As we observe the 18-day campaign to end violence against women or VOW from November 25th to December 12th, we ask you, Lord, to look with kindness upon all of us who are gathered here. Fill our hearts and minds with love, wisdom, and courage as we face our daily lives. We pray for all women and girls who suffer from domestic violence, rape, incest, sexual harassment, trafficking, prostitution, and other forms of violence. May they have the courage to break their silence, find protection, healing, and justice. We pray for the perpetrators of VOW that they may learn to respect women and girls and stop the violence. O loving Father and Mother, send us your Spirit so that everything that we do will be done with love and respect for our fellow humans. Regardless of age, sex, class, ethnicity, and ability, O powerful God, develop in us a high regard for the thoughts, feelings, and experiences of everyone, and bestow on us the capacity to promote, protect, and fulfill the rights of women and girls. Almighty Creator, grant us the strength to stand up against all forms of violence happening to women and girls, the sharpness to recognize a silenced victim of VOW, the courage to speak up against VOW, the resourcefulness to help a victim of VOW, and the resolve to never commit any form of VOW. For all of this, we implore your guidance. Amen.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Noon pa man, malaki na ang naging bahagi ng mga kababaihan sa lipunang Pilipino. Kaisa sila sa marubdob na paghahangad ng kalayaan ng ating lahi. Kabilang sila sa paglinang ng ating makulay na sining at mayamang kultura. Kasapi sila sa pagtataguyod ng mga adhikain ng kapwa mamamayan at sa pagtugon sa mga pangangailangan ng lipunan. Katuwang sila sa pagtuklas sa mga larangan ng agham at medisina. Kapanalig sila sa pagpapairal ng batas, karapatan at katarungan para sa lahat. Kabahagi sila sa paglilingkod sa bayan at sa pagpapanatili ng demokrasyang Pilipino. Sa paglipas ng panahon, hindi nagmaliw ang kanilang pag-ibig sa ating inang bayan. Mga kababayan, ito ang alay ng mga kababaihang Pilipino para sa bayan. Tumayo po tayong lahat at sabay-sabay nating awitin ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Ayaw magiliw, pero sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dilim mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, dulot na ng magiging, sa manlulukin, di ka masisingil, sa lahat ng lubog, sa sinulat at sa lalim mong babang, may ginagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang isang ng patawad mo'y talumpay na naglilingin, tuwing nag-araw na kailan pa may madilim. Lupa ng araw ng 100% buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Ang hindi kaya ng pagpay makahangin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Good afternoon and a warm welcome to all of our guests and participants both on Zoom and on Facebook. We are live via the BIR Facebook page. Welcome to our virtual event titled Taxpayers Briefing on Online Registration and Update System, or Orus. The Bureau of Internal Revenue is now implementing its Digital Transformation or DX Program Roadmap 2020 to 2030, a project that intends to upgrade BIR's IT system and business processes in order to enhance tax administration and taxpayer services. The Orus web-based system was first introduced this year, and today a briefing will be held to promote the features of Orus across the nation. I am Cheska Camille Simeon from the BIR, and I will be your host this afternoon. Before we officially get started, I want to give everyone a couple reminders. This activity is recorded via Zoom by BIR for documentation purposes. Upon admission, microphones are automatically set on mute to avoid noise interruption. And only the speakers for this event will be granted the unmute option by the back-end team. Another reminder is that we are asking everyone to indicate their names according to the naming convention for today's event. Again, you don't need to put it in the chat box. You need to rename your account on Zoom. Name or acronym of your institution dash your full name. We will also have a question and answer session later. Please put your inquiries in the chat box for the time being. Please allow me to likewise acknowledge the presence of the following gracing this event. Navarro Amper and Company, Deloitte, Philippines. Sisip Gores Velayo and Company. Philippine Institute of Certified Public Accountants, PICPA. Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, PCCI. And of course, the BIR officials. Our very own Commissioner of Internal Revenue, Romeo D. Lumagi Jr. The Deputy Commissioner of the Information Systems Group, Maria Rosario Charo G. Enriquez
Muna yung
Cariba.
video. Hawakan mo lang muna.
The Assistant Commissioner of the Client Support Service, Janet R. Cruz. Client Support Service Head Revenue Executive Assistant, Rowena G. Altura. Chief of the Taxpayers Service Programs and Monitoring Division, Elenita S. Mariano. And Chief of the Public Information and Education Division, Maylin L. Hirang. To my fellow revenuers and taxpayers, again, good afternoon. And now, without further ado, to officially welcome us all, once again, I am honored to present our beloved Commissioner of Internal Revenue, Romeo D. Lumagi Jr.
Good afternoon to the proponents of this webinar, my BIR family, taxpayers, and the practitioners. A pleasant afternoon again. Well, as the country starts to recover from the fiscal challenges of lockdowns and economic downturns, the government will be heavily relying on the revenue efforts of the BIR, which is the biggest contributor to the revenue pie, as we all know. But due to these uncertain times, we know that businesses are keeping a tight grip on their purses and are tempted to evade even their tax obligations. As tax practitioners and taxpayers, intermediaries between revenue authorities and taxpayers, you influence the ethical climate, and we hope that you can convince your clients and also yourselves to pay the correct taxes, which are inevitable part of doing business. And we need that to be on the top priority. On the part of the BIR, we are continuously trying to improve our online services to provide our taxpayers with a more convenient and accessible venue to transact business. It is our top priority to provide excellent service. Makakasiguro po kayo na kami po dito ay nagtatrabaho and working doubly hard to improve our systems and so that all your needs are met and it will be met with ease. Na pagka pumupunta kayo dito sa opisina namin ay magaan ang transaksyon, mabilis at hindi kayo na-hassle. So that is our top priority. And for today, you will be briefed on one of the key projects on our digitalization efforts, which is the online registration and update system. Again, this is just one of our several projects that are in the pipeline to provide better services to all of you. Dahil ayaw po namin na kayo ay nahihirapan, and that is our mission, and at least for now, that's our top priority. The Orus is a web-based system that will provide an end-to-end process for registration and updating taxpayer registration information. It will also make available online application and processing of secondary registration like issuance of authority to print and registration of books of accounts. The Orus was launched, I believe, in July this year. And like any other electronic system, we cannot guarantee that it will be 100% glitch-free. But I'm sure that the benefits of this project will far outweigh the birth pains that we might experience in its implementation. So, trabahuhan po natin ito at pagpasensyahan nyo na po kung sakasakaling meron tayong may encounter ng mga glitches. Again, we are still in the process of rolling this out completely, and sana po pagtiisan po natin at kami po, we are really working hard to provide this glitch-free. And with that, let's all look forward to an afternoon full of learning. And the BIR, again, has many digitalization projects on its pipeline. And I hope that you will continue to be our partners in our efforts to modernize our current tax administration processes. Lahat po ng prosesong ito, kada project, I hope you will be available and you will also listen to us so that you will be able to familiarize yourselves with our improvements that we are undertaking so that we can serve you properly. Yan po ang gusto namin, mag-serbisyuhan po kayo. With that, good afternoon and thank you for your participation here. Thank you.
Let us all give a round of applause to BIR Commissioner Romeo Lumagi Jr. Thank you, Commissioner, for the warm welcome and inspiring message. At this juncture, we will be having the photo opportunity. May I request the following BIR officials and speakers to turn on their cameras and join our commissioner for this photo op. Asir Janet Cruz, H. Rhea Rowena Altura, Chief Lani Mariana, Chief Maylene Hirang, and resource speakers Gibson Santamaria, Clary Ann Ragu Benedicto, and Queenie Cataluna.
Is Jessica this year Charo is there?
All right. And also, please join us, Deputy Commissioner of the ISG, Charo Kuriba. Please share your happiest smiles. May I ask Gia to capture the screenshot, please?
Okay, I will now take the screenshot. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you.
And now, may I ask all participants and everyone else to turn on their cameras and join our photo opportunity. Gia, please take their screenshot as well. Thank you so much.
Okay, so right now we have 11 pages worth of participants. I will now start with page 1. Next, page 2. Okay, smile lang po tayo. Okay, that's everyone. Thank you.
Thank you again, everybody. It is a huge honor for us to be with all of you. Thank you for joining us virtually. So I will just give you an overview of the program. So we'll be showing you or present the Orus overview, and then the system walkthrough will be discussed by 3 resource persons. Once again, a brief overview of Orus and a walk okay. I am happy to share with you something before we go on to the next segment. At this time, that roughly 512 Zoom participants and 1,000 Facebook viewers are witnessing this program. Okay, thank you everyone. And at this point, to provide the overview of Orus is yet again the Assistant Commissioner of Client Support Service, Janet R. Cruz. A warm of applause, please.
Thank you very much, Cheska, and to our dear Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner, Ma'am Charo, of course, our HREA, and all BIR staff and personnel who are joining us, and most especially to our participants who are with us in Zoom and via our live streaming in FB. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. So today we mark another innovation of the BIR in relation to its implementation of the Digital Transformation Program, which started last 2020 based on our roadmap until 2030. Now, for purposes of the different projects, as earlier said by our commissioner, we intend to have the experience of our taxpayers, something that would make them more convenient in doing their transaction with the BIR, something that they can experience a faster way of transacting with us. And at the same time, having this kind of experience would now motivate and have our taxpayer to comply better with taxation. So particularly this new project, which we named Orus, or Online Registration and Update System, will now be coming to town. Ayan. So it's not only Santa Claus is coming to town this December, Orus is likewise coming to each one of you this December. Particularly, Orus is actually on registration related transactions. So currently, the BIR have already introduced several, balik muna please. The BIR have introduced already several innovation with regard to how a taxpayer could actually apply for TIN or taxpayer identification number or register their business. One of which is, number one, ito po yung mga usual na ginagawa is what we call yung walk-in, no? And doon po sa ating walk-in na ginagawa po sa registration, mayroon po tayong ipinatupad which we call single window policy, in which case, pag pumunta po kayo sa RDOs at magre-register kayo ng business ninyo, you could just go to our new business registration counter and doon lang po niyo isasubmit lahat ng inyong mga registration documents, and then maghihintay na po kayo, magbabayad din po kayo ng registration fee through that particular counter. There is a dedicated new business registration officer that will entertain you, and after a while, no, hindi po kayo masyadong maiinip, your certificate of registration, authority to print, and all other registration-related documents, including, okay, the payment that you have made will be released to you via this new business registration counter. So yan po yung ating single window policy. Now, when we had the pandemic sometime in 2020, we introduced a hybrid process na mayroong pong manual and there is that electronic way, which we call the new biz reg or new business registration portal, which is available at the BIR website. Now, the new biz reg actually gives the taxpayer a chance to have or apply the registration of business online using the new BizReg portal. Now, that particular submission of your application for registration would be received by our respective RDOs. This will be the RDO that should have a jurisdiction over the address of your business, and they will be processing your application. Within 3 days, so pinakamatagal na po yan, they will have to send you an email informing you that your application for registration has been approved and that the certificate of registration and other registration-related document is available for you for pickup in the RDO where you are registered. However, together with the new BizReg, we also have implemented our e-appointment system. The e-appointment system gives you the chance to lodge your appointment with the BIR on when and what time do you intend to go to the RDO and do your transaction, the example of which is, of course, the pickup of your registration certificate. So that would now give you a convenient way of going to the RDO to pick up your certificate of registration without going through long queues of line natin because we have so other many transaction or many taxpayers in the RDO. So you just go to the RDO doon sa confirmed appointment date and time, and there is a concierge that would attend to you so that you are given priority if you are in the e-appointment system where such appointment has been confirmed by the RDO. So that's the second way by which you can actually do your registration of business. The third way, which is, again, this is now in collaboration with other government agencies. We call this the Philippine Business Hub. Okay, the Philippine Business Hub used to be named Central Business Portal, is a way by which taxpayers who want to engage in business, whether you are corporate or individual single proprietors or professionals, for you to register your business using the facility of the Philippine Business Hub. Now, This is an end-to-end registration from SEC if you are a corporation, or if you are an individual single proprietor from DTI. So once your application for business name in DTI or your articles or incorporation and certificate of registration with SEC has been approved, you may proceed to the BIR using the PBH facility. And once you pay your registration fee electronically through the PBH, you can now generate the certificate of registration with the BIR. Okay, so it's online. Even the payment of registration, you have the option whether you want it to be paid manual or through the e-payment facility of the BIR. But the difference is if you will choose to pay manually, then you will have to go to the RDO to continue your payment of your, or rather your registration. But if you choose and proceed to the e-payment of the registration fee through the e-payment facility in the PBH, linked to the PBH, then you may be able to download your certificate of registration from the BIR also. Now, after that, you can go to SSS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig. Again, this is through the PBH, so you don't have to go physically to these social agencies to do your employer's registration. And also linked to PBH are some local government units. There are selected local governments units where you can also secure your mayor's permit online. So basically, PBH is composed of different government agencies that provides or issues registration related or permits related to your business. And that's the third way by which you, our taxpayer, can register your business. Now, the fourth one, which is the system of the BIR, okay? PBH is a system of DICT and it's being maintained by DICT. But ito pong ating i-discuss for this afternoon is the very own system of the BIR, which again we call Orus. Okay, so Orus, next slide please, is a web-based system that would allow you, taxpayers, convenience and alternative facility for an end-to-end process of your registration with the BIR. So Orus have several functionalities. You can actually be issued a taxpayer identification number. You can register your business. You can have your authority to print should you choose to have your own receipt or invoices. And then even books of accounts can be registered to Orus. Eventually, there are other features of Orus that will be rolled out, okay, until January of 2023. But for this December, okay, we will be giving to you the following features or the different features of Orus. So, next please. Okay. Last July 2022, the BIR have actually launched Phase 1 of Orus. Phase 1 of Orus is actually registration of non-resident foreign corporation, which happen to be is being undertaken or catered by RDO 39 South Quezon City only. Okay? So pagka po mga foreigner, non-resident foreign po yan, TIN is applied under RDO 39. Now, we made that already Phase 1 of Orus. So this was launched July 2022. So for those of you who will have a transaction where you will have to get the TIN of a non-resident foreign corporation, you don't have to go to RDO 39 anymore. You can just log in Orus and apply for the TIN of that non-resident foreign corporation. Okay, next. On Friday, starting Friday, that's December 9, 2022, we will be launching another feature of Orus, which we call this Part 2 and Part 3. So part 1 is for non-resident foreign corporation. Part 2 and Part 3 would be launched December 9, 2022 until January 16, 2023. Okay, so ano po ito? What are these features that will be launched starting natin on Friday? Take note, however, that the covered sites and functionalities would actually be staggered by phase po yung ating magiging implementation. To include, okay, next slide please. Okay, number 1. So kanina, non-resident foreign corporation, phase 1. Phase 2 of Orus will now include issuance of taxpayer identification number for non-resident foreign individuals or foreign individuals. So nauna na po yung sa corporation, this time will now roll out to foreign individuals. And this will be again under the jurisdiction of RDO 39 South Quezon City. Now, while RDO 39 Quezon City, South Quezon City have this under their jurisdiction, you don't have to go to their office. Instead, you just have to access Orus for you to apply for the TIN of a foreign individual. Okay, so that's phase 2. Going to phase 3 or part 3 of Orus, which would include now registration of business and issuance of electronic certificate of registration and authority to print. Okay, so this is the first part of phase 3. Okay, next, application for an authority to print or use of the BIR printed receipts and invoices. Note that if you are a new business registrant, you have the option whether to have your own receipts or invoices be printed, where you will have to apply for an authority to print, or you may use the BIR printed receipts and invoices, which of course you can purchase from the RDO where you are registered. Now that the BIR printed receipts and invoices are being offered to do business registrants, so that once you get registered and you have already your BIR printed receipts and invoices, the following day you could already start your business operation. Versus if you would actually have your ATP and cost the printing of your own receipts and invoices, it may take a week or even more, depending upon your contract with the accredited printers, which would be of your choice. And it is a transaction between you, the taxpayer, and the accredited printer that you have contracted. So if you are a new business registrant, we are offering to you the BIR printed receipt, which you can use so that you can start readily your business operation. So that's still part of Orus part 3. Okay, next, employer account enrollment to facilitate the TIN issuance of employees. Okay, for some of you, you may be familiar with the e-registration system of the BIR, which allows employers to apply for TIN of their employees. However, the e-reg system has been enhanced and we're putting it aside first since Orus have that particular functionality as well. So under Orus Part 3, which of course, ito po yung ating i-roll out, no? An employer may register or enroll in Orus and thereafter apply for TIN of their employees, no? So that it will now be easy for you to get the TIN of your employees with that particular facility. You don't have to go to the RDO. For a while, we requested taxpayer to go to the RDO to apply for the TIN of employees, but now that Orus is here, then you don't have to do that. Of course, that could still be an option, but it will be more convenient and faster if you avail of the Orus services with regard to its functionality on employer securing the TIN of its employees. Okay, so next, another functionality which is ito po yung in ngayong December for those of you who are using manual books of accounts. Normally, you have your set of books of accounts, you bring it to the RDO for registration. Now, with Orus, you don't have to do that. You can register your books of accounts through Orus. In other words, electronic na po yan. We will see how this is done mamaya as we do our walkthrough of Orus. But suffice to say that when you will have your manual books be registered this December, you may now avail of this functionality of Orus on the registration of your books of accounts, which is very convenient since for this particular period of the year, December, this is normally where most of you are registering your books of accounts. Now, however, I mentioned 4 features, no? Registration of business, issuance of the certificate of registration, authority to print, and then your employer account enrollment to facilitate TIN of employees and registration of books of accounts. These 4 functionalities will be available initially, okay, initially to the following revenue regions. So all RDOs, revenue district offices covered by RR6, City of Manila, Revenue Region 7A, Quezon City, Revenue Region 7B, East NCR, Revenue Region 8A, Makati City, Revenue Region 8B, South NCR, Revenue Region 13, Cebu, and Revenue Region number 19, Davao City. All RDOs in these particular regions of the BIR may now avail the different functionalities that I have mentioned earlier. Okay, these functionalities of Orus, Part 2 and Part 3 will be made available to those particular offices that I mentioned on December 9, 2022, and that would be on Friday, this coming Friday, okay? So that's good news already because you will, some of these transactions, you may not need anymore to go to the RDOs. But take note, however, that initially on December 9, the rollout of these functionalities would cover only those RDOs in the 7 regions of the BIR that I have mentioned, which you can see now on your screen. Okay, moving on. Next would be, let's go to the next coverage, no? Covered offices of the BIR on the different functionalities of Orus. Again, registration of business and issuance of electronic OR together with the application and generation of your authority to print should you choose to have your own receipts or invoices. And then employer account enrollment to facilitate the TIN of employees. These facilities will be made available to, next please, all remaining revenue district offices nationwide. This will include taxpayers under the jurisdiction of the large taxpayer service. And these features for all other RDOs, including the large taxpayer service, will be made available on January 16, 2023. Ayan. So that basically is our initial rollout of Orus, which of course I've mentioned already the functionalities that you may avail insofar as registration related transactions and the different offices that would be offering or that would where this particular functionalities will be available on the dates that I have stated. Okay, moving on. Next slide, please. I mentioned already that the registration of books of accounts will be available for on December 9 to the 7 RDOs or regions rather that I mentioned. Now, together with them is the following. The registration of books of accounts for other regions will be made available based on the following dates. For all RDOs under Revenue Region number 1, Calasiao, Revenue Region number 5, Caloocan City, Revenue Region number 10, Legazpi City, and Revenue Region number 14, Eastern Visayas. Okay? This registration of books of accounts facility will be available to you by December 19, 2022. Now, next group will now be coming December 22. Okay, December 22. All RDOs under Revenue Region number 2, Cordillera Administrative Region, RR9A Cabamiro, RR9B Laquemar, and RR15 Zamboanga. Books of accounts may be registered online using Orus starting December 22, 2022. Now, next group, we have all RDOs under RR3 Tuguegarao City, RR11 Iloilo City, RR16 Cagayan de Oro, RR17 Butuan City will be available by December 26, 2022. Now, sabi nyo, Paskong-Pasko naman. Wala pong problema kasi online ito. Basta may internet kayo, you can access Orus and you can have your books of accounts be registered kahit pa nga po December 25, Pasko. Okay? Pero ayaw natin yun, syempre. You have to enjoy with your family. It's a celebration for all of us. Okay, next batch. For the registration of books of accounts, last group will be, they will be available to do the registration of books of accounts online come December 29, 2022. So this will be RDOs under the jurisdiction of RR4 Pampanga, RR12 Bacolod City, RR18 Coronadal City, and large taxpayer service. Now, we said Orus will be available on this date for purposes of registration of books of accounts. However, okay, it doesn't mean that you cannot register your books of accounts physically to the RDO. You are now just given an option by which your books of accounts, manual books of accounts, may be registered to BIR using the Orus facility. So you may still go to the RDO if you want to visit the RDO, bring your books of accounts and have it registered. Kung gusto niyo po na mas maaga, baka ito pong gusto niyo na magpa-register ng books of accounts ninyo and hindi pa po kayo nakaschedule, no, na nagbubukas po ang facility na ito sa inyo, then the other option is if you want, you can go to the RDO, have your books be registered manually, or you can wait for the scheduled date po ninyo. At any rate, hindi naman po kayo pupunta sa RDO dito. You could simply access Orus and go to this particular functionality, which mamaya po, other resource speaker will show you how. Okay? So that's so far our schedule of the different functionalities that will be available to you starting December 9, 2022. Okay, let me just give you some reminders on this one. Orus is online. Anybody who gets an internet connection, a PC or a laptop for that matter may access Orus. But of course, hindi naman po yan anybody because meron po tayong enrollment requirement, no? So yung pong enrollment requirement po natin sa mga taxpayer, they were requested to do an update of their registration, particularly indicating in the update their official email address. So that's one of the requirements for you to avail of the services of Orus. Make sure that you have updated your registration record with the RDO where you are registered. Indicate already your official email address because that is one of the mandatory requirement for you to enroll in Orus. So tingnan lang po, balikan lang po natin, baka hindi pa po kayo nakapag-update ng requirement na yan. There is a BIR form 1905S, no, that is made available in the RDO for you to accomplish and submit so that your registration data will be updated insofar as this email address. Once you are already registered, then you are now ready to access online registration and update system. By the way, Orus, meron po siya doon update system, no? Online registration and update system. Eventually, sa mga darating pong panahon, even updating of your registration record with the BIR will be done online. Meaning, hindi na po kayo pupunta kung magpapalit kayo halimbawa ng mga civil status or meron po kayong mga kailangan na baguhin sa tax types and all other registration related, pwede na rin po yan. Hintayin lang po natin, ilo-launch po natin yan sa maagang panahon, no? Early part of 2023. But suffice to say, Orus Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3 will be made available to all of you starting this coming December 9 until January 16, 2022. Now, use of Orus is for free. Wala pong bayad ito. Kaya po yung meron pong mga enterprising dyan, nagagawin po ito, no, na magiging parang pwede silang mag-a-assist sa inyo. Hindi po yan authorized ng BIR. Kung maniningil po sila sa inyo, hindi po yan authorized ng BIR. Kung mayroon pong ganyan nagagawa, nasisingilin kayo, pagka po kayo ay mag-a-access sa ating online registration and update system, please inform BIR. Okay? Ano po yung ating mga pwedeng gawin, no? Next slide, please. Should you have complaints, concerns, or issues, you may reach the following information venue or channel of the BIR through our Customer Assistance Division by either number 1, email using the contact_us@bir.gov.ph. Pwede po kayong mag-send dyan kung ano po ang mga concerns ninyo or kung meron po kayong issues or kung meron kayong gustong sabihin sa amin. Or you may actually call our hotline, which is 8538-3200. So pwede po kayong tumawag dito and we have our agents that would answer or respond to your call or queries. And lastly, you may also lodge whatever concerns, particularly through our chatbot, Revi. No? Meron po tayong chatbot, si Revi, which could be accessed through our website, which is www.bir.gov.ph. You could simply access then and then makita nyo po yung amin po doong chatbot na si Revi. I-click lang po ninyo. Pwede po kayong magtanong doon. Meron po tayong mga frequently asked questions that can be answered by Revi. Pwede rin po, kung meron po kayong mga complaints, no? Pwede rin pong i-lodge through Revi. And meron pong mga iba pang mga functionalities like TIN validation, TIN verification, RDO finder. Kunyari, hindi nyo po alam kung saang RDO kayo. And then your complaints can be lodged through our chatbot Revi. So please do visit www.bir.gov.ph for you to see the different features and the new functionalities of our chatbot Revi. Okay? So, that would be so far ang overview of our Orus. And I hope that this time you get to be more interested to move on and see how Orus works. So I'll be turning over our screen to our beautiful MC, Miss Jessica. And I would like to thank all of you, yung pong mga participants natin here in Zoom and those who have been watching us live in our FB live streaming. Magandang hapon po. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagsama sa amin at sa interest ninyong malaman ang bago pong mga projects ng BIR, particularly the online registration and update system. God bless and good afternoon.
We thank the equally gorgeous, of course, Assistant Commissioner Janet R. Cruz of the Client Support Service for the thorough presentation. I am happy to share with you that currently we have almost 1,700 viewers and participants both on Zoom and on Facebook. We'll now move on to the system walkthrough. Our first resource person for the walkthrough will present the Account Enrollment and Business Registration 1901. He is no other than Taxpayers Service Programs and Monitoring Division, TSPMD Revenue Officer, Gibson D. Santa Maria.
Good afternoon. Thank you po. Thank you, Ms. Cheska. So good afternoon, everyone. I hope po na-excite kayo kay Orus. So of course, before we start, ang una nating tanong, paano ba ma-access si Orus? So allow me to share my screen. So this is the face of the BIR website. So doon po sa mga familiar na, kung gusto nyo pong makapunta sa website namin, that's www.bir.gov.ph. And go directly to the e-services po. Nandito na siya sa mga quick links natin. So use eBIR services. So ayan po. Dito po sa bandang right, yung nakikita niya, ito yung binabanggit kanina ni Assistant Commissioner Janet Cruz, yung chatbot namin, si Revi. So pag kinlik nyo siya, ayan, pwede kayong mag-chat sa kanya ng inyong tax-related queries. Pwede rin dito yung tungkol kay Orus. So ayan po siya. So let's go to the e-services. And then, nandito po siya sa bandang baba, si Orus. So nandito yung definition ni Orus. But currently po, hindi pa siya naka-on because nagpe-prepare pa po kami for the launch nga po on December 9. Kaya po pag visit nyo siya si Orus, wala pa po kayong makikita. But on December 9, mag-on na po siya. Pwede na po kayong mag-transact based on the schedule and functionalities na diniscuss kanina ni Asir Janet Cruz. So kung ayaw nyo naman ng malayong punta, pwede nyo namang i-type diretso sa inyong web address yung orus.bir.gov.ph para po diretso na kayo kay Orus. Next po, since naka-down pa si Orus natin dahil pine-prepare pa natin siya for the launch on December 9, I will share to you po yung slides ko on the account creation and yung business registration. So ayan po. So i-discuss ko this afternoon, unang-una po yung business registration kasi ito yung pinaka core ni Orus. Kasi po, di ba, sa BIR, pag pumupunta tayo sa any offices, minsan mahaba ang pila. So with Orus po, katulad ng binanggit kanina, basta may internet kayo and may gadget, pwede na po kayong mag-register. And like any other system, of course, the first thing we need to do is to create an account. So from the Orus homepage, ito po yung itsura kanina ng ating Orus homepage. Select nyo lang po new registration. So kung kayo po ay representative ng isang corporation na magre-register pa lang kay Orus or kay BIR, i-click nyo as non-individual. But for this purpose po, ang i-click natin ay is individual kasi po magre-register tayo ng business kung ipapangalan nyo po sa sarili nyo, individual po ang pipiliin natin. And pagkapili po natin ng individual, dito po sa right side ni Orus, makikita nyo yung documentary requirements required para ma-register yung business nyo. So this is aligned with the checklist of documentary requirements na makikita nyo rin sa aming website and available din sa district offices. So if you have an account already, pwede mo na i-click yung login. But if you have no account yet, click nyo po yung create an account. And then of course, lalabas po yung Orus Terms of Service and User Agreement or what we call TOSA. Dito po malilista yung mga responsibilities or yung mga ating liabilities in accessing Orus. So maganda po basahin natin siya hanggang dulo. And ito po yung kanyang dulo. Of course, we have to agree. Kasi po anything po na isusulat or i-input natin kay Orus will be part of BIR's records and you will be held liable po kung maglalagay kayo ng mga misleading information or hindi tamang information. So after you agree, ayan po, mareredirect kayo sa Create Orus Account page wherein you have to select the appropriate taxpayer type and input details. So makikita niyo po dito sa screen, pipiliin mo kung magre-register ka as taxpayer, kung TIN mo mismo yung gusto mong i-register or gusto mo kumuha ng TIN, mag-register ng business, or kung representative ka ng company, tax agent. And kailangan mo rin mag-select ng option kung meron ka na bang TIN or wala ka pang existing TIN. So yan po yung pipiliin natin initially sa pag-create ng account. Then next, you have to put your taxpayer type. Ito na. Since individual tayo, currently on December 9, what will be available is foreign individual, professional, single proprietorship, or professional and single proprietorship. So ano ba ang kaibahan nila? So kung ikaw po ay magpa-practice ng iyong profession, for example, magtatayo ka ng law firm, you have to register as business professional. Kung ikaw naman po ay mag-open ng business, let's say mag-open ka ng isang store, magtitinda ka ng, kunyari mag-open ka ng bakery or ng drugstore, you have to register that as yourself as a single proprietor. Or kung both, magpa-practice ka ng profession at the same time mag-open ka ng iyong business, pwede kang mag-register both as professional and single proprietorship. And then once makapili ka na ng taxpayer type, ayan po, mag-enable na po yung ibang fields sa baba. So you have to input your basic details like the first name, middle name, last name, suffix. Don't worry po, for those taxpayers na walang middle name, you just have to check this box, yung I have no middle name checkbox, and hindi na po kayo i-require mag-input ng middle name. Of course, you have to input your date of birth, civil status, gender, and email address. Ayan po, napaka-importante nitong email address kasi whatever po na ilagay natin ditong email address, kung wala pa po tayong TIN, yun na po yung magiging permanent record kay BIR and doon po ipapadala lahat ng communication namin sa inyo, whether galing ba to kay Orus or kay BIR. So ito na yung magiging reference namin. Ngayon naman po, for those taxpayers na meron ng existing TIN at nag-create na lang ng account kay Orus, ang pinili nyo kanina, I have an existing TIN. Yung email address na ilalagay nyo po dito should be the email address that you register kay BIR nung nag-register po kayo. That's why nung sometime around July po, naglabas kami ng RMC wherein pinapa-update po namin kayo through S1905 para po ma-update yung email address nyo kasi kung meron na po kayong email address doon at ibang email address ang nilalagay nyo dito, magkakaroon po kayo ng problema sa future sa account nyo. Hindi po kayo makakatuloy sa inyong registration. And after inputting the email address, pag binaba pa po natin siya, ilalagay nyo po yung preferred password nyo kay Orus. And of course, kailangan natin siya i-confirm para ma-double check na tama yung password na ine-enter nyo, matandaan nyo siya. And then you click the I'm not a robot or yung parang CAPTCHA. Just to check na hindi tayo robot, it's a mandatory or it's a standard security feature for all systems. And then you click the register button. So ngayon po, pag kinlik nyo yung register button, i-validate po ni Orus kung yung email address na in-input nyo ay na-register na before kay Orus. Meaning, hindi po tayo pwedeng gumamit ng isang email address for different Orus account. Isang email address lang po, isang beses lang pwedeng gamitin ang email address kay Orus. Pag nagamit na po siya, mag-error siya pag kinlik nyo yung register. So kung wala naman pong problema, pag click nyo ng register, manonotify kayo na makaka-receive kayo ng email para ituloy yung registration nyo. So ito po yung sample ng email. So ayan po from Orus no reply. So verifying your account. So dito po sa baba, papansinin nyo po, merong link. So i-click nyo lang yung link na yan. Pagka-click nyo po, mareredirect kayo kay Orus again, Orus site. And then i-congratulate po tayo for successfully creating an account. So please log in to continue. So pagka-click natin ng OK, Mareredirect ulit tayo sa login page wherein kung ano yung ginamit nating email address kanina sa pag-create ng account, ilagay na natin and yung inelect nating password. And again, kailangan po nating i-click yung CAPTCHA and then log in. Once you logged in, dito po tayo babagsak kay Orus landing page wherein makikita nyo na po na enable na yung ibang buttons. Kanina kasi dun sa create account wala pa siya. So since nga po ang nire-register natin ay individual, yung sarili natin, gusto nating makakuha ng TIN for our business, i-click nyo po under new registration as individual. And then again, magpa-pop up po dito sa right side yung mga documentary requirements. Please take note of this po kasi ito po yung mga hihingin sa inyo sa dulo ng application. Kailangan nyo po itong i-scan at i-attach kay Orus para po magtuloy-tuloy yung transaction natin. And fill up the registration form 1901, i-click po natin siya so we can be redirected dun sa application proper na. So once maklik na po natin siya, lalabas na po itong mga steps to register. Ayan po, medyo mahaba siya sa nasa taas. So kailangan nating daanan tong lahat ng steps na to. So the first step is filling up the taxpayer information or yung ating basic information. Kanina po sa creation ng Orus account, nagbigay na tayo ng name, ng birthday. Ito na po yan, naka-auto-populated na po yan. Hindi nyo na po kailangan i-type ulit. Kailangan na lang natin i-provide yung mga wala pa. Katulad ng kung meron kayong PhilSys card number, ilagay nyo po. Pero kung wala po, don't worry, hindi naman siya mandatory. Malalaman nyo po na mandatory yung field kay Orus kung may asterisk siya. So since wala si PhilSys, I'm sure yung iba po sa atin hindi pa nare-receive yung PhilSys number natin or PhilSys card natin, hindi naman po siya mandatory. And then yung next naman po na kailangan nating ma-fill upan ay yung residence address. So ayan, sa residence address naman po, kailangan natin makompleto yung mga fields na mandatory dito kay residence address para makago on tayo. Ngayon po, dito kay Orus, may mga fields wherein hindi nyo na kailangan mag-type. Kailangan nyo lang mamili. For example, kinlik natin si province. So kay province, hindi tayo pwedeng mag-type ng kahit anong gusto natin. For uniformity purposes, para din po hindi pa iba-iba yung spelling natin sa address, nilagyan na po namin siya ng list of valid values. So pag kinlik nyo si province, mamimili na lang kayo. For those na nakatira sa Metro Manila, NCR po yung pipiliin. Pero kung nakatira kayo sa Palawan, nakatira kayo sa Abra, ayan, i-type nyo lang po siya dito. At lalabas na po sa baba yung mga magmamatch dun sa tinatype nyo. And then kung nakita nyo na, ito na siya, click nyo lang yung radio button, malalagyan na yung field na yon. So ganun po kaganda si Orus kasi hindi na tayo magkakamali ng spelling for those fields. And then, para makapunta tayo sa next step, click nyo lang yung continue. Pero po, once po na nag-click kayo ng continue at may mga mandatory fields, yung mga asterisk, hindi nyo na fill upan, magpupula po siya. Hindi kayo makakatuloy sa next process. So, ayan po, pupula naman siya. So, pag yan, ibig sabihin, kailangan yung lagyan. Hindi kayo papatuloyin ni system dun sa next process. What if naman po, di ba ang haba ng process na pinakita ko kanina dito sa taas? What if may kailangan tayong gawin or kaya may kailangan pa pala tayong scan para matuloy natin yung application natin kay Orus, nakalimutan nating scan, nasa kalagitnaan na po kayo ng inyong application. Sayang naman yung mga tinype nyo. Don't worry po kasi we have a save button. So pagka-click nyo ng save button, lahat po nung na-type nyo previously, mare-retrieve nyo siya later on kapag nag-login ulit kayo. Click nyo lang doon sa profile nyo siya and then pwede nyo na i-continue. So ganito kaganda si Orus kasi hindi na kayo ulit magre-retype ng lahat ng fields. So ayan po, yun yung purpose ng save button. And kung meron naman kayong gustong baguing information dun sa kaninang page, pwede nyo naman din i-click yung back. Ayan. So pagka-click nyo ng continue, the next screen po will be the business fields. So ayan po. Ayan. So yung business address po kailangan nating fill upan. Of course, kanina residence, ngayon naman business address. Ngayon, there are some taxpayers po that are conducting their business in their residence. So kaya po meron tayo ditong button na same as residence address. So pag tinik natin yan, kung ano yung in-input natin kanina sa residence address, mag-auto-populate po, hindi nyo na kailangan mag-type. But of course, if you have a separate business address, kailangan nyo po ulit mag-type ng address dito sa baba. So ayan po. Importante po yung address kasi it will determine the revenue district office kung saan po mare-register or malalodge yung inyong application and record. Ayan. So next naman po is the identification details or yung ID na ipapakita natin or isasubmit natin later on sa dulo ng application. So pwede po kayong mamili. We have a list po of IDs here. And then kailangan nyo lang pong i-input yung ID number at yung details ng ID. Ngayon po, kay Orus, may mga date fields tayo na tinatawag katulad nito. Pwede nyo po siyang typean or kung nahihirapan po kayo, pwede nyo namang i-click itong calendar picker. Pag kinlik nyo yan, lalabas po itong calendar. Pwede nyo siyang i-move yung month, saka yung year para mapunta dun sa desired date nyo. So ayan po. Pero kung okay po sa inyo, typean nyo na lang. Next po will be the authorized representative details. Ayan. Si authorized representative, especially for corporation, for example, corporation po yung inyong nire-register, of course may authorized representative yan. Di ba sa district office, hinahanapan pa nga po yan ng board reso. So, or secretary certificate. So pag ni-yes nyo po yan, you have to fill up yung pangalan ng authorized representative nyo, including ito po, yung TIN niya. Kasi po mahalaga po yung TIN kasi under the Executive Order number 98, anyone po transacting with the government should have a TIN. And hindi po tayo pwedeng manloko dito na typean lang natin ng kahit anong TIN kasi nagva-validate po yan sa system namin kung valid yung nilalagay niyong TIN. Pag mali po, hindi nagmamatch sa record ni authorized representative or altogether, mali talaga yung TIN na nilalagay nyo, mag-e-error po siya, hindi kayo makaka-proceed. So, careful po tayo dun sa ating paglalagay ng information, especially dito sa TIN part kasi may validation siya. Next po would be the business information details. Ayan. Dito sa business information details, dito na natin ilalagay yung ating mga business names. So first muna, ang unang tanong, do you have a Philippine business number? So it's answerable by yes or no. Ito naman po is yung parang PhilSys ng business. Pero right now, hindi pa naman po siya naka-roll out kasi I think this is a project of a different government agency. So i-click nyo lang yun, no? Since mandatory field siya, wala pa naman tayong single business number, i-know nyo na lang po. But what is mandatory talaga is for you to have a business name. Kasi po, kailangan kung for example, yung inyong store, gusto nyo pangalanan ng ABC Drugstore. So hindi nyo siya basta-basta pwedeng pangalanan ng ABC Drugstore. Kung individual po kayo, kailangan nyo magpa-register kay DTI to claim that trade name. Ngayon naman po, kung talagang wala naman kayong trade name, kunyari nga professional kayo, nagpa-practice kayo ng profession, ang ilalagay nyong trade name would be your full name. So kailangan nyo pong itik yung yes and then you click the add business. Pag click po natin yung add business, may magpa-pop up po, ganyan yung itsura niya pag nag-pop up, you have to input yung business name nyo po. So katulad po nito, J&J Trading yung nilagay niya. Pero again, kung kayo po ay practicing profession or wala talaga kayong trade name, you input your full name here sa trade name or business name. And then regulatory body, kung sino yung nag-issue ng trade name nyo, in this case, DTI. Kung pangalan nyo naman po, may drop down dito ng other kung hindi applicable yung any other government agency. And then business registration number, kung ano po yung naka-indicate dun sa DTI certificate na in-issue sa inyo ni DTI, and then kung kailan siya na-issue. Then click nyo lang add business. Pagka-click nyo ng add business, ayan po, malalagay na siya dito sa baba. Kanina wala siyang laman, di ba po? Pero hindi pa siya tapos kasi pumupula, kailangan nating maglagay ng industry or the Philippine Standard Industrial Classification Code or simply the PISOC code. So it will determine kung ano yung line of business nyo. So click nyo lang yung add industry. Yan po, lalabas po siya. Kailangan nyo po mamili ng industry group. Again, may nakalagay naman na click to search industry group. So katulad kanina dun sa province, pwede naman kayo mag-type lang ng keyword, lalabas yung lahat ng magmamatch. And then pag nakapili na kayo, ilalagay niya yung PISIC code dito sa baba automatic. But you have to input the line of business. So line of business is a free text. Ano ba yung ilalagay natin dito? Dito po minsan nalilito yung mga taxpayer. So, kunyari po, katulad itong industry group, retail trade not in stores, stalls, or markets. So for example, ganun yung nagre-retail trade ka pero hindi naman sa stores, stalls, or markets, na sa bahay ka or online ka. So, yan po yung ilalagay mong industry group kasi yan yung nakita mong pinakamalapit pero hindi siya specific, di ba po? So, paano namin malalaman kay BIR kung ano talaga yung binebenta mo, nire-retail trade mo? Pwede mong ilagay dito sa line of business, sale of beauty products for example. Pero po kung yung pisik nyo is very specific na, pwede pong i-copy nyo na lang siya, yun na lang po yung isulat nyo dito sa line of business. Ayan po. Then click nyo yung add industry, and then pagka-click nyo siya, pwede na kayong mag-next page or continue. Doon naman tayo sa PISOC or the Philippine Standard Occupational Code. Ngayon po, hindi naman to applicable sa lahat ng taxpayer. Only for those na nag-select na sila ay professional, hihinga naman sila ng PISOC para malaman kung saang industry naman yung pinapractice nilang profession. So click nyo lang yung add occupation. Again, may magpa-pop up. And then pili lang po kayo ng PISOC again dito sa ating selection. And then line of business, ilagay nyo po kung ano yung specific nyong ginagawa. So ikaw, kunyari, nagbebenta ka ng real estate, agent ka. So lagay nyo real estate agent, then click add occupation. Next naman po, kailangan naman nating mag-provide ng incentive information. Tatanungin naman kayo kung meron kayong incentive. Ano ba itong mga incentive na to? Kayo ba ay magki-claim or na magre-register as barangay micro business enterprise? Kayo bang business nyo ba ay nasa PEZA? Under ba siya ng BCDA? So kung nandun po kayo, under po kayo sa mga nabanggit kong incentives or may other incentives pa kayo na gustong i-claim, kiklik nyo yung yes. Otherwise, no po, i-skip natin tong process na to. Pero pag nag-yes po kayo, you have to provide the incentive details, kung ano nga po yung inyong kiniklaim, BMBE ba, PESA, kung ano yung legal basis. Don't worry, itong investment promotion agency and legal basis, pipili na lang po kayo sa drop-down. Na-determine na po namin yung mga lahat po ng investment promotion agency na pwedeng i-claim ni TP. Pero yung incentive granted, pipili na lang din po kayo. Pero all other details like the number of years, kailan nag-grant sa inyo, kailan mag-start, you have to input that. Kayo po yung magpo-provide based sa ibinigay sa inyo nung agency or nung organization na nag-grant ng incentives. Ayan. Next po will be the tax types. Answering the tax type questionnaire. Ito po yung medyo tricky kasi anything po na ilalagay nyo dito will be reflected on your COR or the Certificate of Registration. Dito po madedetermine yung mga tax types nyo base sa mga sagot nyo. So for the accounting agents natin na nandito, baka familiar na po sila since nabanggit kanina ni Assistant Commissioner Janet Cruz, may newbies reg tayo in Philippine Business Hub. Sa newbies reg and Philippine Business Hub, sumasagot din po sila doon ng ganito, same tax type questionnaire. So for example, yung unang question, do you own a place of business? Pwede kang sumagot ng yes or no. Pag nag-no ka, wala kang masasubject sa withholding tax expanded. Pero pag nag-yes ka, magkakaroon ka ng withholding tax expanded. Yung next questions naman po, do you intend to hire services of professional? Do you intend to hire employees? Ayan po, pag nag-yes po kayo dyan, magkakaroon kayo ng withholding tax compensation. At yung withholding tax compensation, prerequisite yon para maka-enroll kayo ng as employer and maka-issue ng TIN sa employees nyo. Later on po, i-discuss yun ng ating susunod na speaker. But for the next question, do you intend to provide your supervisors and managers fringe benefit? Kasi dito naman, pag nag-yes kayo, magkakaroon kayo ng withholding tax fringe benefit. And yung other pong questions will determine kung magkakaroon ba kayo ng withholding tax final and other taxes po. Yung mga susunod naman pong questions, ayan, do you plan to engage in VAT-exempt transactions? So kung under ng Section 109 po ng Tax Code, ay kayo po ay VAT-exempt, piliin nyo lang siya dito. Pero kung hindi, ang piliin nyo po ay sale or lease of goods or properties or the performance of services other than the transactions mentioned in the preceding paragraph. So yan po yung pipiliin nyo para tanungin kayo kung aabot ba yung gross sales nyo for the next 12 months ng 0 to 3 million or above 3 million. Kasi po pag nag-above 3 million kayo na selection, mare-register po kayo ng VAT as VAT. And then kung 0 to 3 million naman, bibigyan kayo ng option whether you want to be elected as VAT. Yun yung kasunod na question. Kung below 3 million ka, gusto mo bang ma-elect ng VAT? Yes or no? Pag nag-yes ka, magiging VAT ka kahit below 3M yung sales mo. Or kung magno-no ka, masasubject ka sa percentage tax pero tatanungin ka ng susunod na question, are you availing of the 8% income tax? So kung mag-a-avail ka ng 8% income tax, ma-waive yung percentage tax mo for the year. So ganito po ka detalyado si Orus and ganito siya katalino para malaman yung inyong tax types based dun sa sagot nyo dito sa mga questions natin. Once done po, masagutan nyo lahat ng questions, click nyo lang po yung next and then doon naman tayo pupunta sa screen ng Authority to Print or BPR-BPI. So nabanggit kanina ni Ma'am Janet, option ng new business registrants na gumamit ng BIR printed receipts kung ayaw niya muna magpa-print ng sarili niyang resibo. So kung ito po yung sinelect nyo, kailangan nyo pumunta kay BIR para bumili ng resibo. But if you opt to apply for an authority to print, ito yung pinili nyo, you have to input yung details ng inyong resibo. So first, kailangan nyo munang i-determine kung sino yung accredited printer nyo ng resibo. So click nyo lang yung search para maghanap kayo ng printer. So ayan, magpa-pop up yung search printer details. So you can either search through the printer's name, TIN, or RDO code. Ngayon po, kung RDO code lang yung alam mo, kunyari, within RDO 89, sino kaya yung mga accredited printer kasi doon ako malapit, lagay mo lang 89, then click mo yung search, lalabas sa baba yung mga accredited printer under that RDO, and click mo lang yung select para siya yung mapili. Para siya yung ma-determine system na ito yung accredited printer niya. So ito pong information na maloload dito sa printer details, same po ng makikita natin dun sa website ni BIR under yung mga accredited printers natin. And then next naman po, of course, after selecting the accredited printer, kailangan nyo namang mag-add ng details ng resibo nyo. So you will do that by clicking the add row naman. So pag click nyo yung add row, ayan po, lalabas yung add description of receipt and invoices pop-up window. We call this pop-up window. So para sa trade name mo na pinili, si J&J Trading, kailangan mong fill upan tong mga fields na to. So ang resibo mo ba ay bound or loose? Kung principal ba siya, supplementary? Kung siya ba ay official receipt or sales invoice? Ang resibo mo ba ay VAT or non-VAT? Number of boxes or booklet? Ilan yung number of sets per booklet? At ilan yung number of copies per set? And based on this, mag-automatic na po ng compute si system ng series. So hindi nyo na kailangan i-input yon. So ganito na natin nilagay para maiwasan natin yung human errors sa pagta-type ng mga series. And then next one po, kapag kinontinue na natin after na nating ma-add yung resibo natin, the last part would be the uploading of attachments. So sa pag-upload po ng attachments, kailangan nating i-remember na JPEG lang or PDF lang yung pwedeng tanggapin namin na format. And maximum of file upload is 25 MB per file. So 25 MB naman po per file, so medyo malaki-laki na yon. So keep your attachments na lang po as concise as possible dun sa size para hindi rin naman po tayo mahirapang mag-upload. So yung mga documents po na makikita nyo na dapat nyong i-attach, mandatory po itong i-attach, will depend kung ano po yung mga sinagot nyo kanina dun sa mga prior tabs natin. So kung nilagay mo ikaw ay professional na may license ka, so ayan po, hingan ka ng professional license ID. Of course, yung ID na nilagay mo kanina dun sa identification, hihingin din sa'yo. Since nag-ATP tayo, hihingan kanya ng final and clear sample of all receipts, printed receipts and invoices. And since DTI po, nilagay natin kanina na may trade name tayo na kinuha kay DTI, kailangan nating i-upload yung ating DTI certificate. So ayan po, magdedepende yung attachments na i-require. Depende nga po sa ating binigay na information a while ago. So ano yung example? Click nyo lang po itong drop down, itong arrow down. And then ayan po, makikita nyo na yung link ng inyong uploading ng attachments. So for the ID, kailangan yung front, yung back, and kailangan po natin ng selfie while holding the ID para ma-ensure po na kayo siya. So wag po tayong magkakamaling mag-upload ng kahit ano lang na document kasi po pag na-review po ito, i-review po ito ni BIR at pag na-review po ni BIR na bogus yung mga ina-attach nyo, you will be subject to penalty po. Ayan. After attaching the documents, pwede nyo na pong i-review yung application nyo. Papakitaan po niya kayo ng summary page. Pwede nyo tingnan kung tama lahat ng in-input nyo. Kung mali, pwede po kayong mag-back. Pero kung okay na, i-check nyo na lang po itong mga agreements sa baba na nag-agree kayo na lahat ng nilagay nyo na information are true and correct, and masasubject po kayo sa perjury kung sakaling meron po kayong mga misleading information or mga information na nilagay nyo hindi totoo, or may mga inattach kayo na document na fake. So once po okay na, naktik nyo na yung tatlong button ng agreement, click nyo yung submit application at mag-generate na po siya ng TIN. Pero yung generating TIN po na to will depend kung may makikita pa siyang existing record kay BIR. Kung may makitang existing record, kunyari ikaw ay may kapangalan sa records namin, hindi po agad may issue yung TIN. Hindi rin kayo agad makakakuha ng COR and ATP kasi i-approve pa yon ng revenue district offices natin. So, kasi para po maiwasan natin yung issuance ng multiple TIN, kasi punishable din po by law ang possession ng multiple TIN. Pero kung wala naman po at valid naman ang mga nilagay niyong information at walang nakikitang kapareha sa database namin, mag-generate na po siya ng TIN. Magno-notify po kayo na registration successful, and po yung sample nung message, makikita nyo na yung TIN nyo. And pagka-click nyo no acknowledge, ma-redirect kayo sa profile page wherein you can download the COR and ATP. So ganun na siya kabilis. Kung wala po kayong kaparehas na pangalan kay BIR, diretso na po kaagad makakakuha kayo ng COR and ATP. Pero may kulang pa. Ano pa po yung kulang? Ito pong nasa baba. Hindi pa po tayo nagbabayad ng ating 500 pesos registration fee and 30 pesos loose documentary stamp tax natin for the COR. Ngayon po, paano po natin siya mababayaran? So click nyo muna yung I acknowledge. Pagka-click nyo ng I acknowledge, idediretso niya kayo dito sa profile page nyo po, wherein makikita nyo yung sa left side yung details nyo po, yung ni-register nyo sa account nyo. And on the right side, makikita nyo yung link to e-pay. So baka po merong mga magtatanong, nai-issue na pala yung COR, makaka-generate na ng TIN. Baka pwede na akong hindi magbayad. No po. Kasi once po na maka-generate kayo ng TIN, ma-issue kayo ng COR and ATP dito kay Orus, kami po kay BIR will generate a report for that, and imamatch po namin sa matatanggap naming payment. Ngayon po, pag wala kaming nakitang payment sa inyo, alam niyo na po yung kasunod, may penalty po, and wag na po natin palakihin kasi everyday po nagraran ng interest ng ating penalty, at hindi naman po ganun kalakihan yung ating babayaran kasi it will be the same, 500 pesos lang po for the registration fee and 30 pesos for the documentary stamp tax. So ngayon po, we are working pa po kasi on the linkage ni Orus para magkaroon siya ng sariling payment facility dito. So we are talking to the different payment channels. So meantime po na wala pa siya, bayaran niyo po siya by going to the link po. Ayan po, may link to e-pay tayo dito kay profile nyo. Click nyo lang siya, may-redirect kayo sa e-payment page ni BIR wherein makikita nyo lahat ng options kung saan kayo pwedeng magbayad. So, pwede kayong magbayad sa Land Bank, DBP, Union Bank, PesoNet. Of course, we have GCash, Paymaya, and MyEG. So, kung meron naman kayong app niyan sa cellphone nyo, pwede nyo naman din dong ibayad since may TIN na po tayo. Yun na po yung gagamitin nating pangbayad. So, yun po. Again, reminder, bayaran po natin yung 500 pesos registration fee and 30 pesos documentary stamp tax para po hindi tayo mapenaltihan at magkaroon ng other violations pa that will affect our records kay BIR. Ngayon po, nabanggit ko kanina, may COR, may ATP, saan ko ba yun makikita? So dito natin siya makikita pa rin sa profile page. Pag binaba nyo lang po siya ng konti, nandito po siya under ng certificates and permits, makikita nyo yung link to download COR and ATP. So ayan po. So pag nilik yung COR saka ATP, magda-download siya as PDF. Pwede nyo siyang i-print sa white paper. Hindi nyo na kailangan bumili ng blue paper, yung katulad ng COR na meron kami, or pumunta sa BIR, manghingi ng papel, hindi na po. Pwede nyo na siyang i-print sa normal na paper, kahit po Yung A4 lang po na malinis na papel, i-print nyo po. Pwede nyo siyang i-display kasi may security feature naman siya. So ano ba yung itsura ng COR na yon para po magkaroon tayo ng idea? I will stop share lang po and I will share po kung ano yung itsura ng ating COR. This is just a sample COR po . Once po na ma-roll out tayo, makikita nyo na rin po yung itsura nito sa computer niya. Ayan po. So ito po yung itsura ng COR ng Orus. Ayan po. Ayan, naglo-load lang siya. So ayan. So ito po yung itsura ng COR. Wala po siyang pinagkaiba sa COR na nai-issue kay District Office. Same layout po. Version 2019 pa rin. Pero ang kaibahan lang, ito po yung binabanggit ko kanina, yung security feature niya wherein makikita nyo po, pag in-scan nyo siya yung QR code, makikita nyo dapat match yung makikita nyo details. Sa details ng COR, makikita nyo yung TIN, yung name ng taxpayer and all other details. So ayan po. Ito po yung itsura ng COR. Nandito po yung basic details sa taas. And then ito po yung sa baba yung table, nandito po yung tax types na subject kayo, ano yung form type na ifa-file nyo, kailan nyo start ifa-file, filing frequency, saka yung due date. So sa mga nagtatanong po, especially to the new registrants, useful po itong si COR para po malaman natin yung kung kailan tayo magpa-file kasi yun yung usual nating tanong . Kailan ba ako magpa-file? Ano ba yung form na ifa-file ko? Kailan ba ang deadline yan? So tingnan nyo lang po yung COR niya, makikita nyo na siya. And then dito sa bandang gitna, we have the trade names. So kung marami kayong nilistang trade names, sunod-sunod niya malilista. And then yung line of business, kung kailan nyo ni-register, kung ano yung PISIC. So nandito siya sa bandang gitna. And next naman po, dito nyo naman yung makikita yung mga reminders natin. So may reminders dyan for the registration fee, kung kailan siya dapat bayaran, kung ano yung mga dapat mag-file kayo ng mga returns na nasa taas. Ayan po. And all other reminders po, hindi ko na siya isa-isahin. And then for the last part, hindi na po siya kailangan ng signature. This is a systems generated document. Signature is not required na po. So kaya sinabi ko kanina, hindi nyo na kailangan pumunta sa district office. Ito na po mismo yung ipiprint nyo at ipopost nyo sa business establishment nyo. So ayan po. So I hope po na-excite kayo kay Orus kasi basta may internet lang, may gadget, at merong printer para nga po dito i-print yung COR and ATP natin, pwedeng-pwede na tayong mag-register kay Orus. Ayan po, thank you, and I will now turn you over po again to Ms. Cheska for the next speaker. Thank you po.
Thank you, Officer Santa Maria. We appreciate how well you guided us through that system. Again, we'd like to remind everyone that before the event ends, we'll have an open forum or Q&A. Please park your queries in the meantime, or you can type them in the chat box or post comments via Zoom or Facebook Live, respectively. Our next presenter is also from TSPMD. To walk us through the Employer Services Link system, let's give it up for Revenue Officer Queenie Lynn S. Cataluna. While waiting for our next speaker, currently this event is being watched by 1,700 participants and viewers on Zoom and Facebook.
So good afternoon po. Let me share my screen for this afternoon for a while. So let us now proceed with the Employer Services Link. Yung employer services link po would be available for those tulad po ng nabanggit ni Sir Gibson earlier, doon po sa tax type questionnaires natin na kapag tinik ninyo yung sa tax type na magkakaroon kayo ng mag-hire po kayo ng employees automatically na doon sa ma-generate po ng COR and tax type na ma-assign sa inyo, magkakaroon po kayo ng withholding tax on compensation na tax type. So, itong functionality po na to ay for those taxpayers lang po na registered with WC tax type. For those naman po na may employees, pero pag chinek nyo po yung inyong CORs at wala pa po kayo ng withholding tax on compensation, you can, for now, manually update your registration sa inyong RDOs using BIR Form 1905. So, we continue with the account enrollment. For the account enrollment po, umpisahan natin for the Orus landing page. Makikita po natin dito ang new registration, the search bar, also the secondary registration. So sa login page po, since login pa lang siya, tulad ng explain po ni Sir Gibson kanina, meron na tayong account na nag-create sa Orus. That's why dito po magla-login muna tayo. Once we log in, mapupunta po tayo sa input ng account information details. Input nyo po yung inyong email na inassign during account creation and also the password na inassign ninyo. And please, do not forget po yung CAPTCHA. So this is a security feature tulad po na nabanggit ni Sir Gibson, and then click the login. After we click the login, mapupunta na po tayo sa Orus Taxpayer landing page. And then kung mapapansin nyo po, magiging available na po yung employer services link. For the officers services link, ito po, ika-clarify ko lang, or I would just like to reiterate na yung employer services link po ay lilitaw or magiging available lang siya or enabled lang po siya for those taxpayers na may withholding tax on compensation na tax type. So when we click that, mapupunta po tayo sa Employer Services Link landing page. Makikita po natin dito ang Enroll as Employer na available po siyang maklik. Also, the Link Employee and Manage Employees. Ito pong Link Employee and Manage Employees will only be available later on kapag po itong Enroll as Employee is already approved by the BIR. Now, when we click po the Enroll as Employer, mapupunta po tayo sa Account Enrollment Form. Account Enrollment Form is composed of two parts. The first part is the employer details. So sa employer details po, since account nyo na po ito, yung account po na nilagay nyo during account creation is already auto-populated or automatically filled out na po. Sa part na ito, hindi nyo pa po pwedeng i-edit yung information na nailagay nyo nung initial. And then for the next part would be the authorized users details. So authorized users details po should be an employee of the taxpayer employer na siya po yung ma-assign or siya po yung assigned na gumamit ng Orus account for purposes po of enrolling and also managing the employees. So most likely po, itong authorized user nila ay meron na pong TIN. Talagang siya na po yung assigned ni employer as much as possible po. And also, the information po dito, tulad na nabanggit ni Sir Gibson po kanina, for the TIN, pagka nag-input po kayo, hindi po pwedeng basta-basta lang yung TIN na ilalagay. Kasi po, vina-validate po ng system yan. And also, kung aligned siya doon sa first name, middle name, and last name na i-assign. Pagka hindi po match yung details with the BIR database, hindi po siya i-allow or mag-e-error po siya. So, ilalagay yung birth date and also the gender. And yung position or designation po ng ating authorized user. And then after po ma-fill out lahat, we can click continue. After we click continue, mapupunta na po tayo sa account enrollment form attachments page. Dito po i-attach natin lahat ng mga requirements in PDF file tulad po na nabanggit earlier and JPEG image. Dito naman po limited lang siya sa 2 MB na document kasi most likely po mga paisa-isang file lang naman ito, hindi po siya mabigat. So, may asterisk po yung bawat requirement. So this is a required field or file na kailangan po ma-uploadan natin ang file. So sworn statement signed by the authorized user and president or human head resources manager. And then i-upload po natin yung file for that. Also, government issued ID of the authorized user, the company ID para po ma-sure natin na yung authorized user is an employee of the employer po na kanyang ginagawan ng enrollan ng Orus employer account. And also the company ID of the president of the HR na kasama niya pong nag-sign doon sa sworn statement. And then after, we click submit. After we click the submit button, makakatanggap or meron po tayong confirmation pop-up message na makikita. Makikita po natin dyan yung application reference number na sinasabi niya po na naisubmit na yung application to the RDO kung saan po kayo registered or nakapag-apply. And then you will be notified of the results within 3 working days from the date of submission. Likewise po, hindi lang itong pop-up message kasi may mga cases po na minsan na okay na natin siya agad. May mga cases po na ganun, kaya naman hindi lang po sa Orus page makikita ito, may matatanggap din po tayo na email sa ating email address na inassign. So your application is submitted. Your employer account has been submitted for review and evaluation of the BIR. And then we'll be notified for the results within 3 working days from the date of submission. And you can revert or follow up your application po sa inyong BIR RDO within after 3 working days kung hindi pa po kayo mabigyan ng feedback after this. Ngayon po, once sa process na to, syempre waiting game, RDOs will double check lahat po nung requirements or yung files na sinubmit ninyo, and then after due validation and review, sa part po ni BIR, sila po ay titik or iti-check po nila kung approved yung application ng taxpayer employer. Once na okay naman po lahat ng requirements and tama naman po yung mga na-submit at tinik na po ni RDO na approve siya, meron din po kayong matatanggap na email for the approved application. So your application is accepted. You can now log in using your Orus account and access the employer services link located at the Orus landing page. So from there, syempre, yung iba po sa atin excited na dahil nga maraming feature si Orus. So we'll check na po kung talaga bang approved yung application natin or ano na yung mga pwede natin gawin after employer account enrollment. So we'll log into our page and then pwede po nating tignan sa profile. And then makikita po natin yung submission ng ating requirements and then makikita na natin yung status natin is approved na. And then from that, since approved na po yung application natin, pwede na po tayong maka-access doon sa link and manage employees na nakita natin earlier. So after we log in, we click Employer Services link. And then yung nakita po natin kanina na link employee and manage employees naka-disable, sila naman po yung naka-enable right now. And then for enroll as employer, naka-disable na siya kasi that will be only a one-time application. So ngayon po, pagka maglilink sa link employee and manage employees is available na siya. Further details for this is available later on. So yung sa link employee naman po, as an overview for everyone, for the link employees, ito po ay pwedeng mag-link si employer ng kanilang employee. Only those employees po na earning purely compensation income, regardless po kung yung inyong employee is with existing TIN or kung wala pa po silang TIN, like new employee talaga or first job po nila sa inyong company. And then, for managed employees naman po, dito po sa functionality na ito, after linking all the employees, meron pong access si employer to activate the account of the employee, and also pwedeng i-dismiss or kumbaga yung linkage po na sinasabi ni employer na employee niya talaga yung certain taxpayer. And then pwede niya rin pong i-cancel yung linkage nila kung aalis na po yung kanilang employee or lilipat na, hindi na po connected sa kanila. So may ability na po si employer na itag siya as employee niya ang certain taxpayer po. So for that, sa rollout po natin sa December 9, 2022, magiging available naman po ang ating user guide or job aid for download for other functions of the Orus. So thank you for that.
Thank you for your skilled guidance in navigating the Employer Services Link, Officer Cataluna. The final presenter who will lead us to the Books of Accounts system, let us welcome TSPMD Revenue Officer, Clary Ann Ragub Benedicto.
Hello.
Yes, is that you, Claire?
Yes, hello. Good afternoon, Miss Cheska.
Good afternoon.
So I will just, naka-screen share na po ba ako or not yet? Yan. So okay na po ba? Kita na po?
Yes, Claire, we can see it now.
Okay na. Hello. So good afternoon, everyone. So since Sir Gibson already discussed about the creation of account as well as the primary registration, so we will now proceed with the secondary registration, particularly with the registration and update of books of accounts. So please take note that this functionality is only available to taxpayers with existing TIN and to taxpayers with registered businesses. So kung wala pa po kayong existing TIN and hindi pa po kayo nakapag-primary register sa BIR, hindi pa po mag-e-enable itong portion ng secondary registration sa inyo. So, once the taxpayer logged in to the account, the secondary registration will be enabled, and we will just simply click that and choose books of accounts from the drop-down menu. So when we click on the books of accounts, so just a simple definition or introduction to the books of accounts that all corporation, companies, partnerships, or persons required by law to pay internal revenue taxes shall keep a journal and a ledger or their equivalent such as subsidiary ledgers, simplified books of accounts. So we will just simply click the register books of accounts. So upon clicking the register books of accounts, we will now be redirected to the taxpayer information page. So as you can see, the taxpayer information portion is already populated. So ito po ay galing dun sa unang in-input natin dun sa primary registration. So since nandito tayo sa secondary registration, we will focus dito sa portion na to on which office po tayo magre-register ng books of accounts, whether sa head office po ba or para sa branch. So kung ang i-register po natin is for the head office, we will just click on the head office. And once we already tick the button for the head office, the business details for the head office will be reflected on the screen. So such as TIN, the RDO code, and the business address. So we will just click on the add button. And then, as you can see, since this is our initial registration of the books, there are no records to display yet. So we will just click on the add row. So once we click on the add row, the mandatory fields for the registration of the books of accounts will be reflected. So as you can see, tulad po ng sinabi ni Sir Gibson kanina, lahat po ng may asterisk ay mandatory fields and hindi po magpo-proceed si Orus kapag hindi po natin siya nalagyan ng details. So for example, dito sa type, select the type of books of accounts, whether it is manual, loose leaf, or computerized. So pipili lang po kayo dyan kung alin dyan. Next po is the type of books of accounts to be registered. So select the type of books of accounts to be registered sa drop-down list po ito. But you can also search for the specific type of books to register. Sample po nito is yung general ledger, general journal, cash receipts, cash disbursement, sales journal, and purchase journal. Mga ganun po. And then, quantity, indicate the quantity of books to be registered. So kung ilan po yung books na i-register natin, ilagay lang po natin dito yung number. Next is the last volume. Indicate the last volume of books to register. Since this is our initial registration po, ang ilalagay pa lang po natin dito is 1. Pero sa succeeding application po natin, kung ano po yung last volume, for example, natapos po tayo sa 10, yung 10 naman po ang ilalagay natin dito. Next, volume from. This is an auto-computed field that displays the previous volume of books of account registered. So for now, hindi pa siya auto-populated since ito po ang ating initial application. Pero as of now, ang pwede pa lang po nating ilagay dito is volume from 1. Pero sa succeeding po na application ninyo, mag-auto-populate na po ito kung saan kayo last na volume natapos. So, ganun din po sa volume 2. This is an auto-computed field that displays the present volume of books of account registered. Next is the validity period from. So, as you can notice dito po sa portion na to, wala po siyang red na asterisk as this portion po kasi is not mandatory kasi ito po ay nag-a-apply lang para sa application ng loose leaf tsaka computerized books of accounts. So kung may validity period po, dyan po ilalagay. Pero hindi po siya mandatory field. Next is the date of registration. Indicate the date of registration of the books of accounts to be registered. And the PTU CAS number or Acknowledgement Certificate Control Number and the date of issuance. Bali, this portion will only enable for loose leaf and computerized books of accounts types. So, dyan nyo po ilalagay yung pass number or ACCN tsaka yung date of issuance. Makikita po yun sa permit. Next is the taxable year from. Kung indicate the taxable year to which the books of accounts are valid from and taxable year to are valid until such date. So, once na-complete na po natin yung mandatory fields, we will just continue to click on the add books. So, once we click on the add books, we will be redirected to the summary table page. So, dito po natin makikita yung mga in-add natin na books. Yung type of books, quantity, volume from, volume 2, date registered, permit number, tsaka date issued. So, dito sa portion na to, since ito nga yung summary, we can still add row kung napansin natin na meron pang kulang. And we can also remove rows kung sa tingin natin may mali or uulit na natin. Pero once nasa tingin nyo po, okay na po yung summary table, we will just click on continue. So as you can notice, bumalik tayo dito sa taxpayer information page. Applicable kasi to kapag ang taxpayer ay may i-register na books of accounts for the branch. Pero kung wala naman na kayong i-register na books of account for the branch, okay na yung sa head office, you will just click on continue. So you will now be redirected to the attachments page. So dito sa page na to, attach the required supporting documents. And we will just click on the upload files here. So dito nyo na po i-upload yung documents ninyo based dun sa books of accounts, and then note that in every upload of attachments, a pop-up notification will appear stating the successful upload of documents. So you will just click on OK, and kapag okay na po lahat ng in-upload ninyong files, you will just simply click on the review button. So once you click on the review button, you will now be redirected to the summary page. So lahat ng information na in-input ninyo from the primary registration, particularly with the taxpayer information, business information, and particularly with the books of accounts details and the attachments, dito nyo po siya lahat mare-review. So makikita nyo po dito lahat ng in-input ninyong details. And kung okay na po, based sa review ninyo, we just click on the agreement, yung 3 boxes, and then click on submit application. When we click on submit application, a pop-up message reflecting the registration successful, indicating also the application reference number, the TIN, registered name, and RDO will prompt from on the screen. And then, ibig sabihin po nito, okay na yung pag-register ninyo ng books of accounts. So you will just click on OK, and then you will be redirected to the profile page. So ganun lang po siya kadali. Pagdating ninyo sa profile page, on the lower portion, doon nyo naman po makikita yung books of accounts na ni-register po ninyo. So for example, pwede nyo na po siya ditong ma-download and ma-view. So for example, ito si volume 10 to 19. Pag dinownload po natin siya, ito na po yung magiging final na itsura ng ating book stamp. So ditong sa book stamp po natin, makikita natin yung TIN, registered name, registered address, type of book, book registered quantity, volume number, date registered, and date approved. So this book stamp shall be printed and displayed in front of the registered books of accounts. So yun po, kung dati ini-stamp, na literal na stamp, ngayon ito na lang po ang ididikit natin sa ating books of accounts. So meron na rin po siyang security features such as the QR code, and that's all po. Thank you.
Thank you for that insightful presentation, TSPMD Officer Clary Ann B. Ragu Benedicto. And that concludes our set of topics for today's webinar. I'm sure you've learned a lot. Thank you once more to all of our speakers. Now that I am confident you all have queries or concerns prepared, I'll turn the floor over to facilitate everyone's questions. Our Q&A moderator, Public Information and Education Division Revenue Officer, John Martin Remoto. He will be joined by our dear Assistant Commissioner, Janet R. Cruz, and resource speakers, Gibson Santa Maria, Queenie Lynn Cataluna, and Clary Ann Ragu Benedicto.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much, Cheska. So it was indeed a productive and fruitful afternoon session. As we have anticipated your excitement and your intention to utilize the online registration and update system, we understand that you still have concerns in mind regarding the said system. In order for us to reconcile your thoughts about this program and the facts at hand, we will now begin with the question and answer or the open forum session. So earlier, our team were able to collate questions of our participants from both Facebook and Zoom. I'll be going through these questions, and our ever reliable and very knowledgeable resource speakers will address them accordingly. So in addition to what Ms. Simeon has mentioned, joining me for today's open forum session are the following: Assistant Commissioner Janet R. Cruz, and the Chief of the Taxpayer Service Programs and Monitoring Division, Chief Elenita S. Mariano, and of course, our resource speakers, Mr. Gibson D. Santa Maria, Ms. Queeniline Cataluna, and Ms. Clary Ann Ragu Benedicto.
JM, maybe we can also add Marvin Gonzalez, Assistant
Yes.
Chief of the SPMD, to join us also in the panel.
Okay po. So Mr. Gonzalez, please join us with this open forum session. And once we're ready, we will begin with the questions that was raised earlier by our participants from both Facebook and Zoom. Medyo marami-rami po siya. Mukhang talagang yung excitement and yung enthusiasm ng ating mga taxpayers with regards to the online registration and update system are overwhelming. So to our technical team, can we add the resource speaker? So while waiting for the others, our other resource speaker, if you still have questions in mind, I'm sure talagang makabuluhan yung ating discussion earlier, and talagang nga naman na yung ating mga resource speaker are very well versed in terms of this program, and they were able to explain accordingly ano ba yung mga nitty-gritty nitong bagong system that we are about to launch on December 9. So if you still have questions and you haven't raised that yet, hindi nyo pa siya na i-type sa ating chat box, you can still do so through Zoom. For our participants here in Zoom, you can do that. Please type your questions sa chat box natin, and our team of revenue officers will send that questions to me so we can read that later on. And also, doon naman po, those who are watching us live on Facebook, please comment down your questions or any issues or concerns that you have in mind, para naman po before we end the session, tahimik natin, talagang we are at peace, na naintindihan natin, and we will be able to utilize this system efficiently. So, Assistant Commissioner Janet Cruz, can we begin now?
Yes, we can start now.
Okay po. So, yung ating first question po, applicable kaya for both single proprietor at corporations yung ating order system? Anyone from the team? Mr. Santa Maria?
Yes po, as mentioned din po kanina ni Assistant Commissioner Janet Cruz, registration of business, it's applicable for both individual and non-individual will be available in Orus.
Okay po, thank you po. Then our next question is, can we send 1905S update online?
Right now po, the update functionality of Orus is not yet on board on December 9. That's why nung nag-release po kami ng RMC, I think it's RMC 122/2022, you need to manually update your contact information, especially the email address in the district office.
Okay po, thank you, Sir Gibson. So again, please keep that in mind. That's RMC 122/2022. So yun po yung magiging guidelines natin for the update. And the next question is, good day, is the registration of team of new hired employees the same with the old process in e-reg? Thank you.
Hindi na po siya magiging parehas in the sense na Orus na po yung gagamitin natin ngayon, hindi na siya e-reg. But of course, the information that you will need to input for the for the employee na ma-register natin siya, ma-issue ng team, will be the same information po na hihingi ni Orus. Iba na nga lang po yung interface, yung itsura ng system na i-access natin.
In addition to that also, hindi lang po yung iba yung mukha, iba na din po yung magiging process. Kasi in e-reg, meron po tayong employer enrollment na automatic approval, no? Now, we learned our lesson in e-reg. Nagamit po ang e-reg ng mga enterprising people na pati po yung mga account ng mga taxpayers, no? Ginamit nila fictitious or fraudulent ang pagkagamit ng account ng mga employers. Na ang nangyari po doon, gumamit sila ng isang employer, tapos nag-i-issue sila ng mga tin na binebenta po nila. Now, with that experience that we had is, binago po natin ang proseso for purposes of Orus, no? Meron po tayo na enrollment of the employers. At the same time, that enrollment is subject to approval of the RDO. Tama, Gibson?
Yes, ma'am.
May approval po, just so that the RDO would ascertain that indeed this employer is legit and this authorized person of the employer is authorized and legit by that particular employer. So meron po kayong konting nabago sa proseso natin. May manual approval po ang enrollment ng employer. But once naka-enroll na po, then you can proceed with the issuance of your the TIN of your employees.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, Sir Gibson. Next question is, this is from SP Albani. Kasama rin po ba yung loose leaf?
Loose leaf books of accounts po na pwedeng i-write. Yes po, provided that meron na po kayong permit to use. And the permit to use loose leaf should be applied muna prior to the RDO bago po kayo makapag-apply ng ATP or books of accounts na may loose leaf. And stand corrected po kanina for the S1905, aside from the manual updating kay RDO, stated also in the RMC na pwede nyo siyang i-email dun sa generic email address ng aming mga client support section chiefs. So makikita nyo lahat yung details na yun sa RMC 122-2022.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Our next question is, good day. This is from RMS Collect. Well, we've answered this already. Next question, please. This is from Miss Ivy Kate Acuña, Cabases. Is 1905S still required to be submitted to use Orus or just registered directly to Orus e-services? Thanks.
Again po, as mentioned po natin kanina dun sa presentation natin, dun sa portion wherein ang pipiliin mo, meron ka ng existing TIN. Ang isa po sa mga prerequisite nun, i-input mo yung email address mo. And once po na hindi mag-match yung email address mo or wala kang email address sa records ni BIR, hindi ka makaka-proceed sa pag-create pa lang actually ng account. So mag-error na siya. So ganun po ka-importante sa S1905 kaya as early as July, nung nilabas namin yung RMC 122, ina-encourage na po ang taxpayers to update their contact information kay BIR.
All right, thank you. For our next question, our next question is from Lopez Incorporated, Ms. Marifi H. Hernandez. For the replacement of ask for receipt, wherein we are required to submit BIR Form 1905 to update the records of the BIR, can we already use Orus?
JM, not yet. The updating of information using the BIR Form 1905 will be delayed in a little while. We are focused yet on the registration, TIN issuance, and for the secondary, the ATP.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Lani. So yun po, the updating, the portion that for updating, medyo magkakaroon po tayo ng deletion. But then the focus of the Orus launching is focused no on the registration and for the secondary requirements is for the ATP. Yes, as mentioned by Ma'am Lani Mariano. So our next question, please. From Miss Lilia Proscia. So, pwede po ba mag-register ang corporation na may 3 branches sa or use sa OR use individually? So, if there are 3 branches ng corporation,
So
or,
ano to? May corporation tapos meron siyang bagong branches. So ang tanong is, pwede na bang i-register yung mga branches niya through Orus?
Okay. So with that po, right now, Orus po is for registration of new business. The registration of branches will come po sa mga susunod na releases ni Orus. Yun po yung binabanggit kanina ni Ma'am Janet sa kanyang overview na very, very soon yung for the branches. But for now, for issuance po ng new business muna yung wala pang TIN at yung pwedeng mag-link pa lang po ng mga may existing TIN, ang pwede pa lang nilang gawin is mag-register ng books, mag-apply ng ATP, and mag-apply as employer.
all right, thank you. Next question, please. From JC Santos. For stamping po ng receipts and books, we still need to visit BIR offices po?
Again, yes, si ma'am. Okay.
Oo. Yung stamping ng receipts and books, una yung receipts, no? Dalawa yung assumption na nakikita ko dito. Does this pertain to loose leaf receipts and books? If this pertain to loose leaf receipts and books, then yung stamping na sinasabi dito would be yung loose leaf na permanently bound na nire-register natin manually sa RDOs. And since sabi natin yung registration nitong books na to at yung nakabound na mga receipts mo will be covered already in Orus, pwede naman po. Basta tignan lang po natin, balikan lang natin yung timeline as to the covered RDOs and regions based on the dates na pinakita kanina. Now, yung isang nasa isip ko dito, yung stamping po ng receipts na bagong print po ba ito? Kasi kung bagong print naman ng mga receipts ito, hindi na po ito required to be brought to the RDOs, no? We don't require anymore yung mga newly printed na mga receipts to be stamped, to be registered with the BIR. Instead, we have the printer certificate of delivery that is executed by your accredited printer. Nandun yung detalye about the receipts or invoices that were printed, and yun lang po ang dala-dala nila para marehistro yung inyong mga manual receipts or invoices na na-imprenta po nila to be registered with the BIR, not the physical booklet anymore. Ngayon, hindi ko alam kung alin yung tanong mo, pero sinute ko na yung dalawang sagot, whichever is applicable doon sa tanong.
And in addition siguro, Ma'am Janet, yung sa books naman po, katulad ng minention kanina, the sticker will be enough para ilagay nyo doon sa books. Hindi nyo na po kailangan pumunta kay BIR para magpatatak.
Yes, it will be printed at your end. So yung pinaka-equivalent ng rubber stamp sa inyong registration would actually be the sticker na nandun po yung QR code that has been generated from Orus. Yun po yung proof ng registration ng inyong books of accounts.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Next question, please. From Miss Alexi Granada. Paano po 5 yung company? Pwede po ba in one Orus account or per company po ang registration sa Orus?
Per company po yung registration natin kay Orus kasi po on the later releases ni Orus, kung saan pwede na kayo mag-register ng branch, that account will also be used. Kaya po, one Orus account lang po for the company. And na-mention ko po kanina, yung email address po should be unique, kaya hindi siya pwedeng gamitin sa ng iba't ibang agent para sa iba't ibang companies.
All right, thank you, Sir Gibson. Our next question is from Carmen Silvestre of PCMR. How about nalos po ang 2303 at magre-request ng new 2303? Diyan po ba sa Orus? Pwede na?
Sa ngayon po, wala pa tayong additional features na nilalaunch kay Orus for reissuance ng ating na-loss na COR. And with that po, for now, kailangan niyo po muna pumunta sa BIR para mag-file din po. Kailangan niya rin kasi magbigay ng affidavit of loss for the COR. So for now po, yung i-release natin on starting December 9 will be for new registration, books, ATP, and employer account.
Okay, thank you. And our next question is from Rumel Arninio. Will other government agencies recognize a COR with no signature or digitally generated COR?
The BIR will come up with revenue memorandum circular that would be officially be published, and so other agencies and taxpayers will be informed accordingly. And that would be the basis, no, for them to know that there is this particular policy now or project of the BIR, and there is no more that need for digital signature for COR. In fact, this is happening already, no? Sa PBH, yung Philippine Business Hub, ang certificate of registration that is being generated through the Philippine Business Hub for taxpayers na nag-lodge ng application doon, wala din pong signature. Pero mayroong QR, no? May QR code yon, Gibson.
Yes po, as shown po kanina, may QR code yung kay PBH may QR code po ang COR, and dito po kay Orus meron ding QR code as a security feature para malaman niyo po kung authentic yung pine-present sa inyong COR.
Okay. So meron po, no? Malalaman naman po nila yan. At saka nangyayari na to, this is not something new, yung certificate of registration ng BIR ay walang signature. But of course, kung may duda kayo, halimbawa, alam naman natin maraming mga magagaling, no? You can validate with BIR. Pwede naman po ninyo i-check yan. You can call our customer assistance division, and then pwede nyo pong through them ma-validate, no? Kung ano man po yung gusto nyo i-verify or i-validate as far as information of a particular taxpayer that may be transacting with you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Next question, please. From SWUI Malasa, Ms. Malasa Panji. If corporation of different trade name under, how to register?
Kung yung pong corporation is bago pa lang and i-register nyo siya through Orus, pwede nyo na pong ilagay lahat ng trade names na applicable or available at the time of registration. But kung mangyayari pong madadagdagan siya ng trade name along the way, meaning mag-update siya, for now hindi pa available yung feature for update. That will come po very, very soon nga po, katulad na na-mention ni Ma'am Janet, wherein pwede nyo nang i-update yung trade name. But for now, for the December 9 launch, pwede nyo lang pong idagdag as many trade names na meron si corporation at the time of registration.
Actually, ang ilalagay nyo po, di ba, pag nag-register kayo, on the basis of your certificate of registration from SEC. So kung ano po yung nakalagay doon, yun din po yung ilalagay ninyo when you register through through Orus. No?
Okay po, thank you. Next question, please. from ADSKI Infinity. Paano po ang issuance ng ask for receipt signage? Do we need to request?
Si Ma'am Lani. Ma'am Lani, can you respond to
Yes,
that?
ma'am. Actually, that is being required, ano? That is being required by the BIR. Uh, Especially during the tax mapping that will be checked by our revenue officers of the district having jurisdiction over your registration. That's why you really have to secure such NIRI, notice to issue receipt and invoices from your district office. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Lani. Yes, ma'am.
Lani, baka ang
Yes,
itinatanong
ma'am.
dito yung change from ask for receipt to NIRI. Yung RMC na inisyo natin. Kasi di ba right now, ang ginagamit ng taxpayer yung ask for receipt, which we change now to NIRI, Notice to Issue Receipts and Invoices. And we issue an RMC
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
requiring taxpayer to change
Yes,
yung
ma'am.
ask for receipt to NIRI. So
Yes,
ang tanong
ma'am.
is, kailangan daw ba nila na mag-request? O
Actually,
automatic
ma'am,
ba to na ibibigay ng
ma'am,
BIR?
actually po, ma'am, the BIRN, no, through the CSS have issued memo to that effect na may schedule po that you will be notified po ng district having jurisdiction kasi binigyan din po natin sila ng schedule as to the change from ask for receipt to this NIRI. You will be notified po via email or anything na binigay nyo pong contacts nyo sa district having jurisdiction over your registration po.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Lani.
Okay.
Thank you, Ma'am
But
Janet.
yes, in addition lang, JM, no?
Yes, ma'am.
We have scheduled po, schedule na kami na kung sino po yung mga po pwede nang magpalit nung ask for receipt to NIRI, yung pong kulay green, no? Na ginagamit po natin ngayon. However, kung gusto niyo po ninyong papalitan yan, pwede na po kayo pumunta sa RDOs. Bitbitin lang po ninyo yung original na ask for receipt para isurrender at palitan po natin ng bago natin na NIRI. Now, also, sabi nga kanina ni Lani, your client support sections in the RDOs may contact you na, within this period, punta po kayo dito at papalitan natin. Pwede rin po yun. However, kung may in-schedule at hindi po kayo nakapunta, pwede naman po sa ibang panahon, but not later than. Ayan. Nagbigay po tayo ng deadline if...
Yes, ma'am.
Oo. Ano yung deadline na binigay natin, Lani, for them
June
to
30
change?
po, 2023 up to that month and day po next year, June 30 up 2023. Actually, ma'am, karamihan po kasi ng mga taga-probinsya is on pa po ito, for shipment pa po natin yung mga NIRI na ipo-forward po ng property division. Kaya tama po si Ma'am Janet, kung dito po sa Metro Manila kasi napipick up na nila po yung mga NIRI nila. Kaya by that time po, kung kayo'y taga NCR, pwede na po siguro kayong magtanong o magpunta sa inyong district office. Dala-dala po ang inyong ask for receipt para po mapalitan ng NIRI po ng inyong district office. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you so much. So just to clarify and to summarize po, no, yung diniscuss ni Ma'am Janet, yung ask for receipt natin, no, yung karaniwan natin yung nakikita sa mga business establishment, yung pagpasok ninyo na kulay orange na nakalagay ask for receipt, pwede nyo na i-request, no, especially if you're from National Capital Region, you can communicate with your revenue district office so you can exchange your ask for receipt signage to the notice to issue receipts and invoices. Our next question, please. Our next question is from Tape Business Management Corporation. Hello po. If there are multiple trade names in one registration, are ATP separately generated or only one?
Sa existing process po natin kahit sa pagpupunta ka kay district office, separate po per trade name ang ating ATP.
Okay, so we
Po
will
dun,
maintain that process.
yeah, in addition po doon sa sinabi ni Sir Gibson, pag po different trade names, lalo na involving services, for bad purposes, you have to secure ano po, OR, ano, for services. Pero pag sale of goods naman po, we need to secure uh, ano, sales invoices po. Kaya po, you really need to determine and identify po ano yung mga business trade or yung mga ano po, inline po ba ito sa sale of services or sale of goods po. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Lani. And next question, please. Ms. Gia, next question, please. From Car Cooperative Union, Ms. Abigail M. Cadillas. In the cooperative sector, can we apply TIN for our members?
Gibson. Yes,
Let me
yes, ma'am.
answer that.
Okay po. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Okay po.
Sa ngayon po, 'di ba, ang cooperatives binigyan po natin sila ng power, no, to apply for TIN of their members, considering that the TIN of the members is required for purposes of their certificate of exemption. However, under Orus, mayroon din po tayo, but not yet. Okay, not yet in this release. Not in part 2 and part 3. Pero pag nakarating po tayo doon sa part 5, kasama din po ito. Meron din po kayong facility to get the TIN of your members for cooperative. But not yet in this particular release.
So, Ma'am Janet, tama, isa yan sa mga abangan natin na enhancement.
Yeah, yan yung mga coming soon pa.
Ayan. Sige. Next question, please. From Mercy Sapungan Malubay. What if incorrect option ang napili sa questionnaires when creating an account sa Orus? Can we amend? If so, paano po kaya?
If ever po na mali kayo na napili and na-save na, so kung hindi pa, pwede nyo naman balikan. Pero pag na-save na yung application and na-issue na kayo ng COR, the only thing you need to do is to apply manually sa RDO to update the records and magpapa-issue kayo ng bagong COR. Because the update functionality, as we earlier mentioned, hindi pa po siya nakasama sa release na to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next question, please. Ms. Gia, next question, please. From HR BSI, Yoli Garcia. Paano po pag may change address? Mag-register po ba muna using existing address, then update na lang? Paano pag change RDO na?
Di ba that connotes that you have an update in your information, ano? Gaya ng nasabi ni Asir kanina, yung update natin on taxpayers information is delayed via Orus, ano? But it can be done with your district cabin jurisdiction. Pag nagre-register ka na, halimbawa, new registrants ka and you will be accessing our Orus, of course, yung present address mo na yung ipapasok mo. Pero if you have, later nagkaroon ka ng updates, hindi pa naman siya available via Orus natin. Kaya later, you can do that via your, siguro personal visitation doon sa district cabin jurisdiction. Okay?
Well, thank you, Ma'am Lani. So we'd like to reiterate po, no, if there's an update with regards to your registration, since it is immediate as part of the Orus program, then yung updating natin will still do kung ano po yung kasalanan natin. We'll visit our RTO, file the 1905 form. So next question, please. From Arthur Nicolas Jr. Good afternoon po. Pwede po bang mag-update ng COR via Orus?
So ano na lang siguro, no? Any update po sa registration data ninyo, hindi pa po pwede sa Orus for this release. Hintayin lang po ninyo yung mga susunod natin na releases, hopefully mga hanggang January 2023 po yan, kasama na po doon yung update feature. And we will conduct another seminar doon po sa mga susunod na releases natin, paaram din po ninyo ano yung nadagdag na functionalities na pwede nyo pong magamit ang Orus.
Okay, thank you po. So, yun nga po, no, kagaya ng ating nasabi na kanina pa, any update as mentioned by Assistant Commissioner Janet Cruz, any update po, wala po muna siya. So, aabangan natin yan sa mga future enhancements natin. And also, once na magkaroon na ng enhancement na yan, we will conduct another seminar, no, on how to do so, no, kung paano natin gagawin ito po updating nito. And whatever enhancements that will happen to Orus, pakaantabayanan niyo po dahil gagawa ko tayo ng panibagong session. Okay po, next question please. This is from Tape Business Management Corporation. Hi po, is the first print considered the original COR that you checked during tax mapping, or is it only printing?
Right now po, pag download nyo yung COR, it can be downloaded as PDF so you can print po as many copies as you want, as long as present naman lagi yung QR code for the security feature. So kahit kanino siya ipakita, same information po yung makikita dun sa QR saka dun sa laman ng COR. So if ever po na mag-tax mapping at may printout naman kayo or nasira, nawala yung printout, you can access your Orus account and reprint again your COR.
Thank you, Sir Gibson. Next question, please. From BHRC, Macleo Armian. Good afternoon, sir, ma'am. Is it applicable for branch registration of business?
As mentioned din po kanina, may same question din kasi for registration po ng branch, wala pa siya for this release. It will be included in the, I think, in the release 4 of Orus, wherein yun nga po, if ever po na marirelease na namin siya, we will again conduct a briefing para i-discuss yung mga additional features that will be launched soon.
Okay, next question. From Copper and Powertrain Construction Incorporated, Marian Rimando. How about sample account enrollment for non-individual po as tax agent or representative?
Actually po, yung same account enrollment na itsura kanina, yun din naman po ang kay non-individual kasi kailangan pa rin naman po ng name, email address, and other personal details nung nag-create ng account. Ang magdi-differentiate lang po once na nakreate mo na yung account, yung ililink mong company. Hindi na yung sample po same lang po, kaya hindi na kami nag-sample ng non-individual for the account creation.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next question. This is from JRM Bookkeeping Services, Ms. Janet Morgia. Sir, na-mention niyo po na need pa mag-selfie. Question, what if bookkeeper ang nag-process ng online, ano po ang attachment?
Kailangan pa rin po, I think this is online din naman po. So the taxpayer should hold the ID, magpa-picture siya and send to the bookkeeper para siya yung mag-upload. Kasi po, we need to verify kung talagang yung may hawak ng ID is yung na-picture na nasa ID is the same with the one holding the ID. So since online naman tayo, send na lang po kay bookkeeper para siya yung mag-upload.
Okay, so sir, no, basta yung si taxpayer, isend niya lang yung picture niya
Yes, holding
holding
the
the
ID.
ID, no? So pagka binigay niya na yun kay bookkeeper, then bookkeeper will upload the same
Upload, yes.
part of the registration process. Thank you, Sir Gibson. Next question, please. From Eliza Manatak Enriquez, may renewal ba ang COR?
COR naman po has no renewal ever since unless you have updates. So kung may updates po kayo, doon nyo lang po papalitan yung COR. But currently again, updates is not yet available in Orus. So you have to do it manually to the district offices.
Thank you, sir. Next question, please. From Mel Coronado Hernandez, for corporation, only one registration po ba is allowed?
For creation of account, yes, para ma-link po yung TIN or makakreate ng TIN for corporation na bago nagre-register. But later on po, pag meron na tayong features for the branches, we will explain to you kung paano yung linkage niya with the account ni head office. So for now po, si head office muna ang makaka-issue ng TIN using, may issue ng TIN using Orus.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next question. From De La Cruz Romel of Santa Rita Accounting. Can we use one email ad for multiple clients? Thank you. I think this was addressed earlier, no? Na only one email account.
Yes,
shall be
one
dapat
unique
siya, one unique
email
email
for
account. So, yes, ma'am. So, Ma'am Lani, tama. Well, hindi mo pwedeng gamitin ang isang email address sa multiple clients.
kaya ang term po kanina ni Sir Gibson is there should be a unique email ad for such corporation or individual.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ma'am Lani, for the clarification. Next question. From Lilia Proscia. Pwede po ba mag-register ang corporation na may... Oh, I think this was addressed earlier. Pwede po ba mag-register ang corporation na may 3 branches sa Orus individually? So,
Yes po, nasagot na siya kanina. So abangan na lang po natin yung para kay branch.
okay po. Thank you. Next question, please.
Mr. JM, may isang nagtanong kanina, yung for large taxpayers naman po na register using Orus, may diniscuss po kanina si habang iniintay mo yung tanong doon sa may nabasa kasi ako diyan sa screen. Diniscuss naman ni Ma'am Janet yung mga schedules po ng coverage po ng for LT po, LT divisions and other on January 16, 2023 po lahat na available po ito, yung registration of business, issuance of ECOR, ATP, and everything po para sa large taxpayer po. Kasi yun yung particular na tanong po niya. Kasi naman yung nagtanong, yan po yung sagot.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Lani. So this one is from JM Cortez Jr. Are all companies need to register to Orus even though it is already operating for years? Or is this only for new companies for registration?
Yung features po ni Orus for registration of books of accounts APP and creating or applying for an employer account para maka-issue ng TIN for employees will be available for those existing taxpayers. Pero po yung registration ng new registration yung wala pang TIN, yes po, yun yung pinaka main feature ng release na to. For the secondary registration, yun yung magiging available sa mga may existing ng TIN or existing company na po.
Or probably, sir, parang yung niya, yung pinaka-gist ng question niya, need ba nilang mag-register or mag-enroll sa Orus? Kung halimbawa, existing business naman na siya, they've been operating.
Yes, if you intend to apply for books of accounts, subsequent ATP, or you need to issue TIN for your new employees, kailangan niyo pong mag-create ng Orus account.
Okay, so for in one way or another, kakailanganin nila yung Orus because of the ATP, yung mga secondary registration. So again, for those companies who are already operating, you are encouraged or required to register sa Orus dahil nga kakailanganin niyo siya with your other requirements for the BIR. Next question, please. from Joan Paredes. When po yung update feature, like yung from VAT to non-VAT, updating of address?
I think na-mention na naman ni Ma'am Janet very
Oo.
soon on the first quarter of
Oo.
2023. Ay,
First
yes,
quarter.
Melanie.
Yes, oo. Ulitin lang uli natin, yung updates po for taxpayer information is not yet available via Orus this time. This po, no, i-go live namin sa December 9, and other schedules. Kasi may phases po tayo on the updates. And don't worry po, sabi nga po ni Sir Janet, that will be done po or readily available in January of 2023. Kaya po, let's wait po and see kung ano po ang magiging kahihinatnan nito pong with
Sige.
your support and assistance and your patience and understanding dito sa ating Orus na i-implement po on December 9, ayan, mapipil po natin yun, kaya ma-excite po tayong lahat.
Sige, Miss Lani.
Thank you po, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. May I request that we have last 5 questions? Kasi po, mayroon po tayo
Yes,
pang isa pang meeting na kailangan na attendan, no? Ang ating Deputy
Opo.
Commissioner. And then, napansin ko pare-pareho yung mga tanong. So,
Yes, ma'am.
can we skip na yung mga questions na pareho at nasagot na natin?
Ma'am, gusto ko lang po i-shout out yung isang comment kanina na unang-una kong nakita. Maganda po. Amazing Orus daw, ma'am. Ang ating Orus is amazing po. And thank you very much po kung doon sa nag-comment na po. Nakakataba po ng puso para sa mga taga-BIR po. Thank you po.
Okay, salamat po. So can we move on to the questions po?
Yes, ma'am.
Kung pareho na nasagot, wag niyo nang basahin.
Okay po.
Let's
Next
move
question,
on dun sa
please.
mga bagong questions lang. Sige, go.
Yes, this one has been answered. Next question, please.
Basta merong word na update, wag niyo nang isama kasi nasagot na yan.
Can we use the platform for renewal of
Yes.
book? Yes, definitely. Next question po. Last 3 more questions. This one has been answered already. Next question, please. This has been answered already. Last 1 more question, please. Nasagot na rin. Yeah.
Tapos
So
na
all
rin
other
yan,
questions
nasagot
po,
na.
no? So since nauulit lang naman po yung mga tanong natin, as mentioned by Ma'am Janet, Assistant Commissioner Janet R. Cruz earlier, if you have other questions, you may communicate with the Customer Assistance Division through this hotline 8538-3200, or you may email them at contact_us@bir.gov.ph, and our very competent revenue officers from the Customer Assistance Division will address your concerns regarding the online registration and update system. So that's it for our question.
Wala si Reby diyan sa ano niyo
Ayun nga, ma'am. And also si
Oo,
Remy, mentioned
pakidagdag
by
si Reby diyan.
Sir
So
Dixon
I
earlier.
actually have shown kanina, no, dun sa slides ko, si Revy po kasama diyan. Okay, there's just one thing. There's a question which I think we have to answer, no, na hindi po naisama dito sa mga na-type. Somebody asked how to file daw yung mga returns, may withholding, may VAT, may ano. Okay, if you are engaged in business and you have registered a particular tax type that you have to file po yung mga form types na to, what you can do is for you to be guided, mag-access po kayo sa BIR website www.bir.gov.ph. Mayroon po tayo dun sa mga information materials, and then sa downloadables icon, meron po tayong tax guide, no? Dun sa tax guide, meron po doon tax guide for individuals, for professional, single proprietors. Meron pong tax guide for corporations. Meron din tax guide for online sellers. So what you could do is nandoon po lahat ng compliance requirement for each type of taxpayer, and makakapili po kayo kung ano yung applicable. So makikita nyo yung registration, issuance of receipts, andun din po yung filing of returns, kailan ang due date, Andun din po yung payment, saan magbabayad, and then some reports that needs to be submitted. So, meron po tayong tax guide doon sa ating sa atin pong website, no? Na pwede po ninyong magamit for filing or questions on filing of tax returns. So nakasummarize na po 'yon. You could just refer to it. Andun na lahat ng ano po yung mga compliance requirement for a taxpayer engaged in business. Sige po, ano yung pinakita mo, Gibson? Sa'yo ba yan?
Yes, ma'am. It's from the website.
Oo,
ng
hindi yan
BIR.
yung tax guide. Sa
Wait lang.
downloadables ata siya. So punta ka sa homepage. Yan. Meron po tayo dyan na mga downloadables. Tapos tingnan mo yung mga info materials. Andiyan ba yan? Ayun, information materials. Ayun na, yan. Yan, nandyan po yung mga tax guide. Hanapin mo. Baba mo, ito, tax guide for corporation, tax guide for professionals, and then tax guide for online sellers. So, i-click lang po. Ayan, makikita nyo po, pwede nyo i-print. Nandyan po lahat ng guide ninyo sa compliance sa BIR. Kasama po dyan ng filing, payment, and even reports that needs to be submitted, and then the deadlines, no? Para po makatulong sa inyo. Okay, so that's it po as far as I think some of the questions na kailangan po nating ipasagutin para po sa inyong kaalaman. Okay, JM, you may continue.
All right, thank you so much, Assistant Commissioner Janet R. Cruz, Chief Elenita S. Mariano, Mr. Gibson Santa Maria of the Taxpayer Service Programs and Monitoring Division. So once again, I also would like to thank all the resource speaker for this wonderful session. At once again, lahat po ng mga additional questions or if there are concerns that we haven't addressed yet, you can communicate with the Customer Assistance Division through the Revi chatbot na makikita po yan sa ating BIR website, www.bir.gov.ph, or you may send the Customer Assistance Division an email at contact_us@bir.gov.ph, and you may call them at 8538-3200. So our revenue officers from Customer Assistance Divisions will assist you saan po sa ating concerns sa online registration and update system. Once again, this is JM Remoto, your Q&A moderator. I'll now turn you over to Ms. Cheska Simeon. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, everyone. Thank you, QA moderator JM, for addressing various concerns in such detail. We will now formally end the event. To deliver the closing remarks, I am thrilled to introduce BIR's Information Systems Group Deputy Commissioner Maria Rosario Charo Enriquez Curiba.
Thank you, Cheska. So thank you to the speakers. So again, pleasant good afternoon to everybody attending this virtual meeting. Earlier, I noticed that there are more than 500 participants. And first, I'd like to congratulate the organizers, headed by Janet Cruz. Finally, we've rolled out Orus. So I noticed also that there is that interest, enthusiasm of coming from our taxpayers, raising questions, clarifications. They showed interest, and it only means one thing. Excited po lahat dito sa Orus natin. So congratulations to the BIR team, and also congratulations, by the way, this is the BIR Christmas gift to our taxpayers. As mentioned and emphasized by the Commissioner, we want to elevate your taxpayer experience, your experience as our taxpayers. We want you to be satisfied, and this is one of the efforts of the BIR to improve our service to the taxpayers, to you, our taxpayers. So in the last few hours, we've been excited, dun sa features ng Orus. And kagaya ng sabi ni Janet and all the other presenters, there's more to come. We have just started the rollout of Orus for the new registrants, the issuance of the TIN, the issuance of ATP and CUR, but more to come by January of next year. So we know that maraming questions na hindi pa nabasa kanina ni JM. But then, Ma'am Janet, we will be releasing a FAQ, Ma'am Janet. So, para dun sa mga clarifications nila. And rest assured that the BIR is here is listening to your concerns and will continue to improve our service to you, our taxpayers. So in keeping with our ambition to provide you with the productive reforms to achieve a simpler, more efficient, and effective system, we will continually enhance this Orus. We believe that the registration is the initial step in the business compliance. So sabi ko kanina, rest assured that the BIR is studying how to streamline our processes with these things in mind to reduce cost, to increase our tax base, and to encourage voluntary compliance. We hope that as we digitize our procedures to align with the business on emerging technologies and progressive tax laws, taxpayer experience would likewise improve. So once again, thank you very much, dear taxpayers, for sharing this journey with us. We appreciate your support for our digital transformation efforts. Your BIR is listening to your suggestions. We are doing our best in crafting, developing, and implementing better ways to serve you all. So once again, thank you. May we see the beauty in growth and transformation, for change is the end result of all true learning. Mabuhay po tayong lahat, and congratulations to the Client Support Service team headed by Asir Janet. And congratulations to you, our taxpayers, for staying with us this whole afternoon. So once again, back to you, Cheska, and congratulations. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much for that uplifting and heartfelt concluding remarks, Deputy Commissioner Charo Enriquez Coriba. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our program entitled Taxpayers Briefing on Online Registration and Update System, Orus. On behalf of the BIR, I would like to thank our BIR Management Committee members, other officials and officers, our speakers, the participants in this live webinar, and the online viewers on our Facebook page. Thank you for being with us virtually. Kindly follow the BIR on our official Facebook and Twitter accounts, BIR GovPH, and YouTube account, BIR GovPHL, to stay up to date on the newest BIR issuances and developments. Tandaan, oras na para mag-Orus. Make use of the Orus now, a hassle-free alternative for the entire BIR registration process. The BIR hopes for everyone a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Stay safe, and God bless us all.